Me and my niggas tryna get it, you bitch. Yeah, bitch. Hit that house, they tell me, is you with it, you bitch. Yeah, bitch. On invasion, what's persuasive? From 9 to 5, I know it's making you bitch. Yeah, bitch. Dreams of living life like rappers do. Back when condom rappers wasn't cool. I fuck Sheranian with the tell my bros. Then the Sheranian let it burn came on. I saw that night I rhyming, yeah bitch. Off the car then we start rhyming, yeah bitch. The only thing we had to free our mind. Then freeze that verse when we see dollar signs. You looking like an easy come up, yeah bitch. A silver spoon, I know you come from, yeah bitch. And that's a lifestyle that we never knew. Go at a rapping for the revenue. Go at a rabbit for the revenue.
The healer doesn't go around telling people that they are healers, they just are. The witch doesn't hop over the hedge to prove she's a witch, she just is. The medicine man doesn't explain why his medicine cures, it just does. The shaman doesn't claim to connect heaven and earth, it just happens. The way you alchemize a soulless world into a sacred world is to treat everyone as if they are sacred, until the sacred in them remembers. As each new person awakens, the timeline changes and an alternate alternate reality becomes our current reality. I show you that I love you. You show that love to another. An act of kindness by me is an act of kindness from you to another. The power to change our realities one by one will change what the reality of this world is.
Testing, are we on? And 4, 3,
hear me, huh? Welcome to the Spirit Animal Podcast. This is the real George of the Jungle. Pardon there, we had some technical difficulties with the mic. Can you believe it or not? This is episode 12, and we have it with a banger today with Walters the Doan. Man, there's a lot of positive things that this man has brought into our lives and as well to other people's lives. This guy is truly an iconic for Tucson, Arizona. One of the best DJs, hands down. Pardon to all the other DJs out there, but always much love. Without further ado, Walters the Doan.
Hey, what's up, George?
My brother.
Good morning, brother. How you doing?
Good
man?
morning. Getting over that cold, like I told you, man, but we're running at 100 today.
Heck yeah, I love it.
How's it going, man? You got that gig going on later at the neighborhood?
Yeah, I just switched over to the neighborhood rooftop, so I've been doing the second story moving forward from 11 to 2 a.m. If anybody wants to come through, I got you.
You guys
I'll
heard
take care of you. I'll get you on my guest list. Get to skip the line, feel a little fancy, you know.
There you go. That's the best way to spend this. What is it today? Saturday? Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
Man, well, it's truly an honor, bro, to actually get you on the show. I've been wanting to schedule you in the beginning, but let's make a little bit more of it. That way we can get more of that flux. So that's why I scheduled you more in the middle. That way we can get that, rolling. I myself was tempering in waters that I had never touched. So the less the technical difficulties to you, the better I would feel. Because, man, if I can start with saying, man, the opportunities that you brought to our realm with reptiles were insane. And it all started with you, Ariana, and, her Reptuck as well. And as well, La Bella Luna Boutique. It's insane the amount of traction that it brought just by, a couple showings with Walters the Doan. Like I said, man, you are iconic, and we truly appreciate you.
Thank you, bro. And I'm really happy to hear that. I think after the first time you had gone to, did we do the Safaeda party first, that safari theme party, or did we do Zima first together?
So I hit up Chris Carr first, and then he hooked me up with Richie. We talked about me going in on the first Safaeda night. I hadn't talked to you or at all. I didn't know who you were until we met that night. And I think you scheduled me for Zima, and then we did part 2 for Safaeda night.
Yeah, man. It was when I was planning that whole Zima festival. I was doing it all on my own with like a couple of DJ homies that were helping me. I've never thrown a festival ever before in my life, but I knew that I wanted to like give a platform to all my DJ friends and anybody who was trying to come up in the game. And along with that, like I wanted to have some interesting pop-ups there. And in the middle of planning, I was like, man, you know what? This is great. We got some good vendors and stuff. The DJs are all booked. Production is on the way, but we need a wow factor. There's no wow factor right now. Like there's not something that's gonna like blow things out of the water or make like a memorable moment for the people who are attending. And once I connected with you and we set you up in the back, we gave you like your own little like green room area that you set up in. And man, your setup was so nice, bro. Everybody loved going over to you and taking pictures. I mean, you had all the girls back there looking like mad sexy with like their boots out with a big old snake on their neck and stuff. You had lizards out there. It really elevated the experience for a lot of people, and I want to thank you, man, for showing up
Oh,
to my
appreciate it,
events,
bro.
and doing your thing, bro. You do an excellent job, and people can tell you're an animal lover, and they trust you
Appreciate you.
when they need that guidance. So I appreciate that on your end.
Definitely, brother. And that's honestly what we're here for the animals and exposure to human nature. It's really hard for a person to comprehend, the interaction between humans and exotic animals, because there's that, what if it bites me, or what if I get hurt? But working with that animal, and it's give to say that not only me, man, but if there's anybody out there in Tucson, Arizona, who would be down to do the same thing, to expand that same way, because it's about expansion, it's about duplication and creating somebody else. It's not just to keep it to myself. And that's how I feel at this moment. Like, nobody's really, wanting to do the same thing. And I have people hitting me up in Phoenix, and they're like, man, can I go down there for a show, or can we schedule something here in Phoenix? But nobody in Tucson. If there's anyone, who does want to chop in with their own snakes or bring their own animals, that would be great, bro. Because it, like you said, man, it's all about helping the public too.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. Even that, like you opening up that world to other people is so important. And man, I commend you for it. And I'm glad you found like a dope niche, and you're a professional, bro. You're so good at what you do. It's really admirable.
I appreciate you, brother. Stop stroking me, but I
All
appreciate you a
right,
lot.
all right, all right. Right.
What are your spiritual practices, bro? Like, this is the Spirit Animal podcast, and that's the first question. What are your spiritual practices, like your daily habits or your routine?
Um, I don't really have like a whole lot of like daily routines or rituals per se, you know what I mean? But when I'm being a decent human, I'll like wake up, I'll make the bed. Recently I've been fasting a lot. So I'll fast until like 4 p.m. ish. Before I have my first meal, I'll have some coffee. But for the most part, like my spiritual practices, I grew up Catholic. I don't know if I'm a true Catholic, like I definitely don't fit the script in a lot of places. Um, but I pray, bro. I pray and I give thanks for my blessings, my mom's real spiritual, and she lights candles and prays for me, so I do the same thing. Um, I'll light a candle if there's something special that I want to pray for, or bring upon me or someone else in the world. And I'll light another one to give thanks, bro, because I feel so blessed lately, and I feel so lucky to be like where I'm at. Anytime I feel like the universe brings me something that I need, I feel like I need to thank it somehow. I need to honor it in some sort of way. So I think spiritually, as far as like things that I do, I think probably the deepest one is probably like praying and lighting candles.
Awesome, bro. And going back to like the whole like Catholic thing, like you said, there's no script. As long as you feel good about yourself, if you feel those blessings coming, that's beautiful in itself. It's really beautiful. I admire that, and I condemn you for that, brother. It's a lot to actually do. Just the simple action of you like giving thanks and putting that candle up, and you're like feeling that energy just reciprocate again and again and again. And that to me is more spiritual than any other technique. It's just implementing those small little things. Do you have a spiritual religion or a belief? You said it was Catholicism, but do you pray to God yourself, or God in any form?
I feel like I pray to God pretty often. More like a higher being than one specific deity, or like like, oh, I only pray to like Jesus Christ himself or something like that. Nothing like that. I do pray to saints. I pray to San Juditas just because that's like what I grew up with. But it works for me and makes me feel good. Um, besides that, man, I don't know. Like, if I had to pick something, as long as like my spiritualism, I don't think I could like really hone in on like Catholicism, because there's like a lot of things that I don't agree with, honestly. And I'm not like a big churchgoer or
Yep.
anything like
Same here.
that. I did grow up that way though. Like, you know, my family's very traditional Mexican, so like I went to catechism. I did the classes. I did like my confirmation, the whole spiel. You know what I mean? I went through it. But I don't know if I would identify with that right now. I feel like I'm good where I'm at spiritually, with me and like my connection to the world. And sometimes I think like I grew up with my grandmother, and she passed away like a couple years ago. And
Condolences.
sometimes I pray to her. I don't know if it's because like it's like a grieving thing that humans do. Um, but I don't know. I feel connected and I feel safe when I pray to her, and it almost feels like I'm praying to my ancestors. You know?
And let me stop you there, bro, because what you just explained is literally what I practice within Santeria. You know, you're not praising any specific deity, you're praising nature. And honestly, we come from that same ground. You know, we come from Earth and we become some part of evolution. So if you take everything as everything has a purpose in this world and everything should be respected, what you just said about praying to your ancestors, that just came out naturally because that's your higher self, because you're praying to that higher self. You know that those ancestors were the ones who communed you, who made you, right? Who made Walter who he is, you know, the genetics from your great great grandfather, the genetics from your great great grandmother. If they wouldn't have met, you know, somewhere in New York, and this is per se, they wouldn't have met in New York, you know, and then traveled thousands of miles by foot, you wouldn't have been here. So it's like giving thanks to all of those steps, giving thanks to everything before you came. That's beautiful, you know, because it's like you're humbling yourself to think it's not just about me. It's about like the projection that I'm giving up forward, you know?
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's about me. I hope it's not all about me, shit, because I'd be stuck in the rough spot. But yeah, man, it really brings me a lot of peace, bro. In that way, and I was very close to her, and I feel like a lot of my family had a really tough time during the grieving process. Um, I remember like once my grandma passed away, I was staying with her. I had just got back from Phoenix, um, and I was working for Apple Music at the time. So like I was building a whole ass radio station for Apple Music from like an extra bedroom in my grandma's apartment. And I had been away from her place for maybe like 3 years already. So I would go and visit, you know, and spend time with her. Um, and in those like last 6 months where she was with us here on Earth, I had the I had like the pleasure of staying with her again, and spending that time with her. And what I'm getting to is like I feel like I had like a lot of like my tias and stuff like ask me for like so many things, bro. Like old dresses and shoes and just like things that I don't necessarily personally believe might be like healthy, you know? Like them having like a whole bunch of like my dead grandma's like dresses in their closets to like remember her by or whatever. And I think I spent a good enough time with her that my grieving process went like pretty smoothly. You know what I mean? Like I took like a couple of things. I took her little tiny San Julitas. I probably have right here. Let me see if I can pull this bad boy out. Yeah, I think this is the only thing I kept from my grandmother, bro.
Bro, I burned everything from my father. It's so weird because I grew up with my grandparents too. This is
Oh,
very
really?
awkward and weird. Yeah. And my dad passed away when I was 16. And I burned everything. I threw everything in the river and I said, you know, the fuck with it. My dad was like the biggest inspiration until I turned about 20, 22. Around that area. I found out things about him that weren't so perceived as how I grew up. But, bro, like those things, San Judas, I believe, is Osain in the Santeria world. So what happened in like back in the 1800s, 1600s to the 1800s, we somehow had a synchronicity of the Catholic religion and what the slaves were practicing in that era. And what I mean by the slaves were the Cuban Afro-Americans, those, or the Cuban Afros. And those were the people who brought in that heritage from Cuba to have it translated into Catholicism. So they would hide their deities like San Judas inside of Osain or Osain so that they can still pray to them, so they could either for health or to do damage to a master or to protect themselves from bad. But that's where voodoo became magic, and it became so potent because it was out of not fear, but prosperity, because they were running for their lives. You know, they were being killed, mass murdered, or whatever, and they would protect themselves with whatever was brought from Africa or from Yoruba. When they brought it over, there was a time and day where one of the masters allowed the Afro-Cubans to practice their religion. So it was like May Day on that day, in which it was a Sunday. They allowed them to practice whatever they wanted to practice so that they can come to church and somehow allow other communes of people to come as well. So it was almost like marketing in a way back in the day. And that's where it became a synchronicity. And Osain represents a guided, he's missing a leg, and he represents a guided misfortune. And at the end of his death, he became the richest man alive, but not with wealth, but with love and the people that were just always in blessing with him. And it's funny, but like in the Hispanic culture, we always pray to San Martin Caballero or San Judas. And those were something that I grew up as well. And I can relate a lot with you with those, bro, because there's a lot of similarities between, I grew up with my grandparents. My father was never there. And when my dad passed away, it was just like, I couldn't cope with it. I threw myself in front of cars. I attempted suicide, and I came to the realization where I needed to let those things go because it wasn't healthy for me. You know, I was hurting myself. I was putting myself in situations that I didn't need to be in, you know, being homeless for a week till I moved in with my wife, my current wife now, and it was a blessing.
Man, that's so wild. Something about growing up with your grandparents really switches things up in your brain because they become your guardian, and they're from a generation that is not our parents, you know what I mean? So like the traditions that you take, even like as far as like how you're treated at home, like what you're eating, like your daily rituals, like definitely change. And it was such a blessing for me, thankfully, to grow up with my grandmother. I grew up with a single mom, so my mom was living in Mexico at the time. Having like some immigration issues, so unfortunately, like a lot of my childhood I spent with my grandma here in Tucson so I can go to school. And my mother was on the Mexico side and would visit like every weekend or like every break that she had. And on my side, if I ever had a break from school, like let's say spring break, rodeo break, or whatever, I would head over to Mexico with her. And that's an ongoing reality for a lot of people still, bro. Thankfully, like my mom is here with us now on the US side, and she has her papers and stuff. But literally, man, like for a lot of families like that, especially immigrant families, like that Kendrick song, like praying we make it at 21, and like that always resonated with me because my whole family, bro, couldn't wait until I turned 21 so I can help like my mom get her papers. You have to be 21 to ask for your mom to come and be a citizen here in the US.
Yeah.
And man, it really hurts to think about the fact that I had to wait 21 years to be able to live on the same side you know, of the country as my mom. But I wanted to ask you, bro, like when you were getting rid of like all of your dad's things, did it give you some sort of closure, or is that something that you did like out of pain?
I think it was closure, bro. The more that I got rid of stuff, it was a disconnection of because of the time that I had the last things of him, which was his watch and like his jewelry and some of the things that he would wear. I literally let everything go in the river. So whoever runs into 64 karat shit that's in the river in Tucson, you know, good luck for you, brother. But I let go a lot of things like that because it wasn't an attachment thing. It was more like my morality had grew, and because this person was a rapist, this person was an abuser, a molester, whatever, it was like a relief. Like I let that closure go, and then it was not about closing because I still remember it, but it's more like it was a relief in my heart. Like I'm glad you're dead, like that feeling. And it might not be the same to you because you loved your grandma.
Yeah, I love my grandma a lot. But yeah, just thinking about the closure that you can have by like getting rid of like items, like physical things, can really do a lot for you, man. And I'm telling
Because
you,
it's
like,
it's the perspective. It's the perspective. Because the more you look at something and you're like, damn, remember that time that this happened, or remember, you're just putting that into your head, and you're just like, you're hurting yourself. You're literally just taking a knife and stabbing yourself in the heart.
yeah, bro. And even like when my grandma was sick, bro, she was like bedridden for like a good 2 months before she passed away. I really tried not to like post pictures of her like in like some fucking hospital medical bed and shit, or like her like tubed up, or like her like me posting her online for my family to see like that, because I felt like the more that I did that, like the more that would be people's recent memory of her and not their last memory of her. And I didn't want to go and like override, their positive memories when my grandma was up and walking around, cooking, making tortillas, typical fucking badass Mexican grandmother shit. And I kind of would just want people to remember her for that, rather than like bedridden 93-year-old grandma, that lived probably 1,000 lives and some more on
Crazy.
top of that. But yeah, man, that's real interesting. That really brought you closure, and I'm glad it did.
Yeah, and it's to the persona who, because when you go through your healing, you realize that you don't really need an attachment, and if you have, that's a good gauge to see if that person has been healed. Because if somebody is attached to an item, that means that they value something because of its attachment of emotion or feeling. So if that person isn't healed in here by knowing that an item is not going to fix anything, it's not going to change anything in your life, then at that point it doesn't really matter if it's there or not, because you're thinking in your head, you're like, I don't care if it's there or not. It doesn't mean to me anything. I don't give it power. Then at that point you have a higher self or a higher being that's evolved, and you're to say, then I don't need anything in life, and you let it go. And it's funny that we're talking about this, because I was talking to myself last night, thinking about, it's so rewarding to let things go, and especially when they're yours. And I'm not talking about like the whole, like when somebody dies. I mean, like if I have a snake and I bring somebody into the business, right? And that person really likes a snake that I just had in a litter. I'm 100% sure I'm going to gift you that, because it's out of my heart. Because I feel rewarded in my heart, not that because it's some type of sense of power that I gave you this and it makes me egoistic. No, it's because I'm letting go of something that I love so much, and it makes me feel like I don't have an attachment to the things I love. I love you so much that I'm going to let you go.
Man, I really feel that, bro, because I really feel a lot of the same ways. As far as like things that I love, and things that I take care of. And sometimes, especially when I meet someone and I feel like I'm having like a special moment with them, or like a grand moment, and like we're really connecting. Like, let's say, simple example, like someone says we're chopping it up, and I meet someone, and then eventually they say, man, oh man, I like your hat, bro. I'll take that hat off, bro, and I'll try to give it to them. Some sunglasses, I'll try to give it to someone, and I don't know why, but it gives me such a sense of fulfillment. And like I really try to not token things, because I grew up tokening a lot of things, and I started to see it kind of be unhealthy. So sometimes I was like hesitant to do those types of things. But then when I felt like an extreme joy and attachment to someone else, and I felt like I could harness that in some sort of like gift to them, and have that good energy go right over to them, I don't know, it does something special for me, man. It definitely helps me, and I hope it helps them.
Yeah, definitely, brother. And you know, it's like we're not doing it out of pleasure or out of anything or ego. It's more like fulfillment, like you said. It's a sense of fulfillment. And even if you see somebody on the street and you're like, that person doesn't have shoes, then I'm going to take off my shoes and give them my shoes, because at the end of the day, I will always be blessed twice or triple as more as long as I feel good within myself. And it's not to put it on the web and record it and show it off to people or express it in any form. It's beautiful when it's silent.
It is, bro. And and you know what? I kind of have like a bone to pick with like people who don't like when people like post themselves, sharing with someone or helping someone. I don't think it's like the best shit. I don't think it's like the coolest thing to do for someone to record themselves, like, let's say, helping the homeless. But I would a million times rather someone record it and still do that than all those people never do that at all.
That's true, bro. That is very true. And you know, if you keep to yourself and to say that that blessing is silent, but the moment that other eyes see it, you know, eyes have a sense of perception, and like the saying goes, you know, your voice can resound in a star millions and millions of galaxies away. The same way does your eye. The more you see, the more other people see as well. It's like a beautiful connection between energies. And yeah, I agree, man, to a sense. I'm very to myself, so I like to keep things secret. And even when I do things and my wife expresses it to some friend or her family member, I'm like, just be quiet, don't say anything, because I like to keep it to myself.
Yeah, and I kind of grew up with that mentality too, because like I remember my mom would tell me like, oh, like, like something big is coming up for you, like don't share it with the world, like keep it to yourself until like it becomes realized, so you don't have anybody, putting negative energy towards your goals or accomplishments. And I just don't really feel like that, bro. I don't feel like that.
Because
I feel
if you want to be heard, you have to say it. You have to be like, "Hey, I'm the George of the jungle. Touch my snakes." If you don't do that, if you don't post that on a daily, you're not going to get anywhere. And I see where it can be a fixed mentality at the same time, like you're saying.
Yeah, bro, but like even like with like job interviews or like important moments in my career, I always like felt like I should share that with the people who supported me, And I've never had a fear of someone like being envious towards me, or like like wishing down on me, you know what I mean? Cuz I feel like if it's meant for me, then nothing can stop it. Nothing can
Exactly.
stop it.
And those thoughts are inside of that person's head, not your head. So at that moment, it's regardless of what they're thinking, you're still going to succeed.
Yeah, bro. And if I don't, bro, that's something valuable to share too. Like out of like all the wins that I've had, bro, I've taken so many L's, bro. I've taken a countless amount of L's. And I really wish I had been better at sharing those experiences with like some of the people that supported me. But thankfully, like all the things that I had been making public had turned out really well, thank God.
That's good, brother. That is truly a blessing. But we kind of dipped into hand, and I'm glad we did, because there's a lot of I don't find things coincidental. There's a lot of alignment between our spirits, so I enjoy that. That means that I have something to learn from you, or vice versa. You know. Bro, what is your morning routine as a DJ?
My morning routine. I get up. I tell my girl I love her. Fucking stand up, do a little stretching. And then depending on like the type of day I have, I'll play some music while I shower or get ready and brush my teeth. And I feel like I just recently started doing that more often. I feel like I had kind of lost that, because a lot of times when I was DJing, I get out at 2 a.m. So like after I'm out at 2 a.m., I feel like I have to have some sort of like time to decompress before I go to bed. So I'm up till like I'm up till like 5. I'm up till like 6 in the morning. And then the next morning, I probably have a gig or something to do. So like the time in between me sleeping or like me staying up and me getting up for the next thing I have to do, I didn't have any time for myself. So now I'm making time for myself. Now I'll play a little song for myself. I'll make some coffee. You know, I tell my girl I love her. I send her off to work, and I start my day.
That's sick, bro. That's a sick routine. You know, it's I seem to find some type of resemblance between. I'm not putting certain personas at higher end, but when you seem to have a non-relative schedule, meaning that it just shifts depending on your day, but you seem to have some types of things that you do repetitively on the daily, you tend to be successful. And I'm not saying that, there's only been 12 people that I interviewed, but off of those people, the people that I highly commend as you, I see that there's no fixed schedule. Like, regardless, I have a next schedule, but as long as I make time for me, I'm going to be successful because I have that decompression time or that absorption. I have some time to actually think through what I'm going to do next.
Yeah, bro. I've tried like a lot of different things, I'm an entrepreneur, bro. I'm like self-employed, so like I have to keep myself motivated. I have to keep myself moving, and I've tried different things, bro. I've tried the whole like waking up at 5 a.m. Every day. I've tried that, and I've tried like just like trying to meditate in the mornings and things like that. But honestly, bro, it never really it really never took me to the places that I wanted to be spiritually until I literally just started letting my mornings flow, and I started letting my body and my mind tell me what it is that I needed for that morning. Um, I think the only like real routine thing I do is just listen to music, like listen to a song that'll set the tone. But besides that, that's really it as far as my mornings go.
But I mean, bro, that's like part of your job too, or your career. Like you said, you're an entrepreneur, but listening to music keeps you on the up. What am I going to produce next? What I'm going to make next? What I'm going to switch with my rhythms or beats? That's inspirational.
Yeah, but it's different in that in when I play my songs in the morning, bro, it's different because since it is my job, when I'm downloading music, when I'm searching online, when I'm crate digging and stuff, it feels like work. You know what I mean? It feels like, all right, this is something that I have to do, um, so I can continue being a successful DJ. When I play songs in the morning, I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about DJing or producing. I'm trying to like play a song that I genuinely enjoy, something that's going to make
Yeah.
me feel good in the morning, and not something that I'm trying to take with me to, use it for work later.
And then sometimes throughout in experimenting, you find those type of songs that are with the flow and you throw them in. It's like you do what you love. Why did you choose music, bro?
Um, I'm not sure, bro. I'm not sure if there was like any specific moment where I said, you know what, this is it. But I remember in my younger days, in high school at least, I remember me and my homies would like gather around and play Rock Band, bro. We'd play Rock Band or whatever. We play Guitar Hero. And then one day, just for the shits, I took the Rock Band mic, which was a USB mic, and I plugged it into my computer. And I was like, I wonder if this will work. And boom, sure enough, bro, the Rock Band mic worked on my fucking ghetto ass PC that we had just bought from Rent a Center. So like me and my homies would just like hang out at my grandma's house, and we'd put on instrumentals and we'd try to freestyle with this mic. And eventually, like, we started making a couple of songs just like gimmicks. and we couldn't like record them on like QuickTime or whatever, you know. So we're like, fuck it, we'll just download whatever software. So we downloaded this. We downloaded Mixcraft at the time. It was like the only free like digital audio workspace that we could get. And after that, we didn't know how to use Mixcraft. So we're like, fuck it, we're gonna learn how to use Mixcraft. And next thing you know, one thing led to another. And like me and my friends started making music, bro. And like we would get out of school, we'd like, you know, get a couple of like things from the paletero, and then we'd go to my house and literally just make whatever, work on whatever,
That's it.
rap on whatever songs that we wanted to, and still with this like little rock band mic. And I think once I was like nearing the end of like my high school career, I was really lost in the sense of like my career and what I was gonna do with my life. Um, I think at the time, like I really wanted to pick something that was secure and good for my family. You know, like my mom and my grandma and all my family made like a lot of sacrifices for me to be here and um, me go to school and get the education and lifestyle that I had. And at the time, I was working at McDonald's, and by the end of my high school career, I was the breadwinner for my home. Um, so picking something to me that was gonna guarantee my success was like very important. And I kept thinking to myself, all right, what do I do? Do I go and get like a business degree? Do I go and like try and become a doctor? Like what path should I take? And it was a real messy journey for me in my head, bro. And I couldn't find anything that made me feel like music made me feel. And that was the only thing that ever like really stuck around for me, that was a safe space. And it was something that I always, you know, valued because of the time that I spent with my friends doing it, the fun that I had doing it, um, being able to express myself, through my music and share uh, how I was feeling. And eventually, bro, it just became like something that I couldn't get rid of, bro. Something that I knew was like there to stay with me. And I chose the unlikely path. I went to college and I studied music production. I got what I needed, as far as my classes and education goes. I made the connections, and um, eventually I started getting some job offers and stuff, and boom, bro, I just dipped right in. Um, I was doing school out in San Diego, and then my grandma actually got really sick, so I came back to visit her, and I thought she was gonna pass away. And then this like she had some crazy surgery on her stomach, that the doctors didn't think she was gonna make it through. So I said, "Fuck it, like let's do it." I was my grandma's power of attorney or whatever, and she ended up making it through the surgery. She did great. And at the time, while I was living in San Diego, I was already done going to school. And my whole time over there, bro, I was just like being shitty. I was partying. I was fucking, trying to get at
Enjoying
girls.
yourself.
Yeah, yeah, but I wish it was in a more positive note, where I was just enjoying myself. But really, bro, I
Oh,
was like kind of like on a dark path, bro. I felt really lost. I had like a job that was just like paying the bills. I didn't have a lot of money, and when I got back to Tucson and I was with my family again, I just kept thinking to myself like, "Yo, what the fuck am I doing out there?" What am I doing? Like, why am I out there and doing all the same shit that I would normally do here, but without all the people that I love? And I don't know if that's like something that comes with like our culture, to like being attached to our parents or like to the people that we grew up with. But every time I had like a really great experience, bro, and like I was looking at something magical or something really cool happen to me, sometimes I felt like I didn't have anybody to share those wins with, you know? And I love them for myself, but I really wish, you know, I was right there with my mom. I wish I was there with my brother, my sister, my grandmother. And eventually I just made my way back to Tucson, and I started working as a caregiver, and I worked in healthcare. I worked with kids that had muscular dystrophy, which is basically like a condition where certain certain parts of your body aren't producing protein, so like you can't build muscle mass. So like a lot of the children I was working with were like on wheelchairs, had like very little mobility. Um, and it was my job to like give them some sort of rehab and like help them with their daily lives and make them as independent as possible. And I was doing that until I got my studio. I got a little studio, bro, downtown at Pennington. I saved my money, and me and like a couple of homies were like, fuck it. It was $250 a month. And I was like, we're like, yeah, we're all gonna go and we're gonna split it. Yeah, it's gonna be great. And I remember my homie Mikey, he had some fucked up Bluetooth speaker, like swap meet style big PA speaker. And they had it at one of their family parties. So it had like a big ass crack in it, bro. Like literally a piece of it had broke off from the handle, so you can see like the inner workings of the speaker. And I remember we had just that one speaker, some shitty desk that we bought at Goodwill, and we would stuff like all kinds of like cushions in the speaker so it wouldn't rattle. And that was my studio at the time. And I loved it, bro. I loved it more than everything, and nothing made me feel that good. So eventually I made my way into the business side of music, and I got my studio up and running, and I started going out and shadowing DJs and learning how to DJ. And my mentor, DJ Apprentice, he was actually the one who motivated me to learn and try to push my life towards music, because that's what I enjoyed doing the most. And sure enough, I learned how to DJ, and that helped kind of fund my music career in the background, and it allowed me to get rid of my day job. So once I left my day job and started doing music full time, is when it started feeling very real and like it could be something that could work out for me.
Yeah, man. Once you get that snowball going with work and getting funds or gigs or whatever it is, it starts to get realer by the second, and you're like, "Hold on, let me navigate it real quick."
Yeah, bro. And a lot of
so
times,
you said, "Go ahead, bro."
I said a lot of times, like when I would move up in my career, it almost felt like that it was over my head, bro. Like that it was something that I might not be ready for, you know? And every time like
We're never ready.
Yeah, that's exactly the feeling that I would get, bro. And thank God I would just take the risks, bro, because damn, who knows where I would be right now.
I certainly felt that before, and I work for Watson Chevrolet. You might be familiar with him, El Sergio Jimenez. He was my manager there at Watson. And he would put me always on the stage line or doing promotions for Watson. And I remember feeling these butterflies in my stomach, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna puke, or like something's gonna go on. And there was this gig at the Rialto. We were supposed to do a commercial, and my mic was turned off, and I was yelling into the audience. And then like the DJ behind me is like, hey, it's not your turn yet. Like, let the other guy go first. But I was messing up on my words. It was a fun gig, bro. But I learned a lot from that, from messing up. You know, if I wouldn't have messed up, I wouldn't have learned.
Yeah, man. A lot of those experiences come at you fast, bro, and it's literally like the universe putting you in a position where you can really take things to the next level if you want. I feel like people are presented with, you know, those opportunities, and they're the ones who decide to act on it or not. And if you do act on it, then good for you, and if you don't, then good for you too. I mean, everybody's entitled to give their own life direction and what they're ready for or whatever they're not ready for.
Everybody has their own path at a certain time. Everybody has a catalyst that changes everything, but it's at that right moment.
Yeah, I had a lot of problems too with like my life timeline, going into this business too. Like I would see like my homies graduating from college, like getting their families, having kids, buying their houses and things like that. And meanwhile, I was like in my studio buying microphones, fucking spending my money on speakers, like all of those things. And like I would really compare myself a lot to those people and say, man, am I like am I not doing the right thing for myself? Am I not like taking the correct path in life? Am I not successful because I don't have these things? And I remember one of my friends telling me like, hey, like get rid of the timeline, like stop comparing yourself to others and stop like guiding your life through the time that you think you have left in your life, and start doing it in the moment. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck waiting for something that's, not even present to you yet.
And how do you get out of the moment? By thinking that you're going to die. Eventually, that day's going to come.
It's the only thing for certain, my man. It's the only thing for certain.
And once you release that and you're like, shit, I'm going to die. I don't know when, but I'm going to die. You're like living every moment to the fullest.
One of the most beautiful things is that we're all just dying very, very slowly together is what's happening right now.
Ooh, that gave me the chills. That is true. Bro, what is that point in your GJ journey? We might have already gone over this. That marked a change where you're like, oh shit, this was the gig that got me to this moment, or this was the moment that Walter the Don or Alexis became Walter the Don.
I think when I finally like was able to land my first gig, I was just like shadow DJing for a lot of my homies and stuff, like watching them play, going to their gigs. And at the end of the night, like let's say the last 15 minutes and everybody was like hammered or whatever, they'd be like, all right, play a song. And then I'd play a couple songs. And eventually one of the DJs had got so fucked up the night before that they couldn't make it to their morning Sunday gig. And they called me and they're like, hey, can you come play just for a little bit? And I was like, man, I don't know if I'm ready, And fuck it, dude, I did it. And I started playing at Highwire on Sundays, bro. And I would play on the little inside room. This is before Highwire was like a huge club. It was just like a little alley bar. Fucking great cocktails. It was like me and a couple bartenders there most of the time. And nobody would go, bro. Nobody would go. At the most, we'd have like 5-6 people there at a time. And slowly but surely, bro, like through my Sunday gigs, like I started seeing a lot of my friends show up. And they would come and support, and they'd come and have a couple drinks with me and hang out and take pictures for me. And the next week, a little bit more of my friends would show up. And then the next week, a little bit more of my friends would show up. And I remember at some point, bro, I was DJing at Highwire, and I had like, I remember this day, there was like the garage door behind me was open, so like you could feel like the wind through like the alley, and there was like I had like a gang of fuck, I don't know a nicer word to say it, but there was like some fucking crackheads in the alley going off, bro. They were fucking having the time of their lives. And I turn around and I look at them, and then I turn around and I look inside, and all the people inside were having a great time. And then I start looking closer, and I knew almost everybody in the room, bro. I knew almost everybody that was there personally, and they had all, you know, came to see me and came to hang out with me and come to the space that I was working at. And I was making money and I was playing music. And I was like, damn, this is everything I could have ever asked for. How blessed am I to have like all my friends in this one place, like enjoying our time together while I'm able to make a living. I don't know. To me, bro, that was like a real eye-opening moment to believing in myself and knowing that like people were willing to support me and a real moment of truth for myself that I could be successful in the entertainment realm. You know, it's like it's a scary world in entertainment.
We're nothing without our supporters, brother, and the supporters include all the haters too. They're watching. As long as you got people supporting you, you know you're gone somewhere. And if you don't got haters, like it's saying, man, then you're not making it.
Yeah, dude, and like even like I don't know, even like people sometimes say like, oh, you should always do things for yourself, you know? Like you should always like, you know, motivate yourself. You should always, you know, work towards something that you want. You should always prove it to yourself. Sometimes like I can't help but disagree, bro, because I've gotten so much support over the years, bro, and I've got so much people that, you know, have blessed me with gigs and with them coming or sharing my flyer, even like anything like that, that I feel like I owe it to them almost too. You know, I want to be successful. So all these people right here that have been supporting me all this time can say, fuck yeah, you know what? Walters is actually doing something out here. I'm glad I helped him out. I'm glad I shared his flyer. Because look at him now. Look at him go. And like, I feel like I owe that to a lot of my fans, bro, and to myself and to my family as well. But damn, bro, like the people who support me mean so much to me, and they really helped elevate my career and my lifestyle. And fuck, man, I can't help but feel like I owe it to them too, you know, to be
We do.
successful and to try my best.
We do, bro, because without, like I said, without them, in my end, I sell reptiles or I do displays. If they wouldn't purchase from me, if they wouldn't come and want to take photo shoots, if they want to do an educational showings, I wouldn't be here. It's like your own clientele. If you're a Max business who's running a corporation, without those clients or those customers, the business wouldn't be rolling. And we do owe it to them, honestly, bro. And that's, like I said, that good feeling of giving back always feels like it's meant for something because I have to close the circle somehow.
Damn, fucking well put, bro. With the name Walters the Don, bro, giving back to me is like one of like my ultimate goals. Like I want to be able to, I want people to be able to think of me and say, hey, you know, this guy's a great guy. You know what? He did this for me. He he played my song out, you know, like nobody else knew this song, but I knew this song. He played it for me anyways. And just like fucking little moments like that, man, I really value everybody that fucking supports me, man. It really, it touches me, bro, every time. Even like I said, like on some social media shit, which is like, you know, not the grandest thing in the world, you know, like them clicking 2 buttons to share a flyer can do so much.
They
You
can,
know,
because
and
those 2 people can bring 10 people.
literally, bro, as far as scaling goes, from a business, you know, standpoint as well, like they're sharing something with the people that they care about or that they enjoy talking to or following online, and then those people get to see you and what you have to offer. And it really goes under mine sometimes still, how helpful it could be for people like us when people support and share our things online and you know, show their friends off.
It is a moment of growth, and like with that feeling that you said, you get a good feeling when people request that song and they remember you and they share you. I feel you, bro, because that moment when I feel that person touching that animal for the first time and they're like, I've never held this animal in my entire life. but now I have the opportunity to hold it. Thank you for that experience, or thank you because I overcame my fear of it. That is beautiful as fuck, because I'm like seeing that change of them being in a state of fear, and out of nowhere they want to purchase the snake, and they're asking me about the enclosure and how to keep it and do this and this that. Like, that's a blessing.
Bro, from like a personal experience, I remember like the first time you came in with some snakes, bro. I was fucking terrified, bro. I had never held a snake like that ever before in my life, and you get this adrenaline rush when you're first handed the snake, and you're such an excellent handler, bro. Like,
Appreciate you, bro.
I remember you putting the snake in my hands, and then like you let me feel it for a second, and then you put it like around my neck, and boom, bro, all that anxiety that I had just kind of like went away. And like I think I still had like a nervous feeling, like, oh shit, what if this fucking snake chokes me out? What if it bites me in the neck?
No,
And it keeps the adrenaline rushing, but eventually you like learn to trust it. You learn to trust the animal, and then you gotta just worry about like trusting yourself, and not like doing anything sporadic or freaking out and accidentally hurting the animal or something like that. But man, I swear that first adrenaline rush when you're holding an exotic animal like that is crazy.
There's a quote by Tom Crutchfield, bro, since you're mentioning that. And he says, the moment that the keeper loses the fear of the animal can then be allowed to trust the keeper. But if the keeper never loses that fear, the animal will never trust you. So until we allow ourselves to trust.
Fucking bars, bro. You fucking spitting right now.
It is insane, brother. The things that animals teach you. The way I feel like I've evolved by having, something to actually look after and feel that experience of joy of seeing them flourish and grow. It's like, it's rewarding in itself just to see that.
You have children, right?
Yeah, I have 2 little girls.
Were you taking care of animals before you were taking care of your girls?
No, so I didn't have anything or kept anything until I actually moved out. We were living with my parents at a time. My wife was pregnant. We were going through our high school diploma, changing all that, and getting our construction NCCR cards. We were going to a program called Youth Build. And it's something that I want to incorporate later on with the snakes. But with that, we got our opportunity. And then once we kind of established our own home, my first snake was a Honduran milk snake. And it's a what they call the dimorphic. I'm not quoting the scientific name of it right. But the dimorphism of the animal, the coloration, is an imitation of the coralillo snake, which is a venomous snake.
Venomous snake, yeah.
Now, the Honduran milk snake, imitates that snake so that it warns predators, hey, I'm toxic or I'm venomous. So that snake was almost like the same thing as a coralillo snake, and that was my first snake. His name was Kundulini. And from there on out, it just became something greater. I started almost like hoarding these animals, but to the point where I was rehabilitating these animals by purchasing them from people who didn't have space for them anymore, or going on Craigslist and seeing who was giving up an animal. I would bring them in and then rehabilitate them and sell them again to a place that had a good home. And then I got a little bit into what's called morphology, the study of morphs. Cross or mixture of genetics, meaning that you can take one certain species of a female genetic, if it's allelic, you can mix that into a male and create offspring that have the same pigmentation or coloration of the parents. So I got deep into that, and I bought my first boa constrictor, Sunglow Aztec. It was like seven genes on top of that snake. So it took about 7 years to 10 years to produce that snake that I had. And I still have her. I'll actually bring her out here for you. She's part of my private collection. But if you look at the patterning, it's way unique than any of the other snakes that you've seen at the clubs.
That's the Aztec
Wow.
pattern, and it's called the sun glow. It's got orange eyes. I don't think you can catch them on the camera there.
In 7 years, huh?
It took anywhere between 7 to 10 years for the breeders to produce the snake. So what they do is they take, let's say, the Aztec genetic, and they breed it to the female, whoever is carrying it, or the male, and then they breed it back to the mom or the dad. And then once they take that gene, they breed it back to somebody else might have as the same genetic, and they choose to work with another gene or another bloodline so that the bloodlines will stay strong. And then you produce snakes like this.
What do you think about all that? Like, as far as like, is that genealogy? I'm not too familiar.
It is the study of genealogy. Now, there's certain things that are called heterozygous and allelic and dominant or codominant, meaning that the genes can be dominant on the female's end because of the genetics or the genetic name that she has. For example, like let's say clown in the ball python. There's a genetic called clown. You breed a clown to clown, and you'll get certain genetics off of that. That white snake that you've seen, that ivory, I'll show you here shortly. But she is a granite to granite, which they call a super ivory, and it turns pure white. And the snake, the mother, is pure speckling, and I'll show you the speckling here shortly, but it's still black and grayish. But they figured out that if they bred a granite to a granite, they would get hypogranites and ivories and super ivories, and they bred white snakes. And back in the day when they first figured that out, the snakes could have been sold for $150K, $200K because of that genetic gene. And throughout the years, they lose value. The larger the snake, the more it costs. There's a lot of exchange in cells throughout reptiles themselves.
Interesting.
I personally don't like breeding something I don't like. Meaning, like, if I have a normal, just because I have a normal, I'm not going to breed it because I can. I'm going to think about it and say, okay, do I really like these snakes? Am I going to take care of the babies? Am I going to succeed with that pairing? There's certain genetics, like per se the spider gene. They're figuring out things now, but before they had like a wobble in their head. And that wobble was a deficiency or a neurological issue that they had. It's a neuro problem. And if you breed those snakes spider to spider, you can potentially have just abnormal snakes. So what's the point in breeding that, you know? So it comes with ethical things and actually knowing your genetics and working things that is worth breeding, you know?
Yeah, I feel like with genealogy, there's like a lot of thought you have to put into the ethics side. You know what I mean? Because there's some people who, for example, with humans, or like people who are picking and choosing certain traits from themselves to create perfect babies. I don't know if you've heard about that, but they call them designer babies.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts, and I'm not sure if like I agree with it all the way, but I kind of love the thought of like for example, like when I used to work with kids with muscular dystrophy, this is like a genetic mutation that they have. So I can say personally that I think for certain people like that, or like bloodlines where that gene exists, it might be real valuable for those families and for those parents to say, hey, you know what, let's leave this gene out. And not to undermine, people who are handicapped, or who are born handicapped, and how special they are, and how perfect they are in their own ways, but still, bro, like being able to give somebody longevity in their life, to give them peace of mind, to give them health, and being able to choose that for your offspring if you do want to have your family, I don't think that's such a bad path to take for those people.
Yeah, it has its ethical meaning. Like, for example, with snakes, people do what's called hybridization, where they take a certain species to make it dramatically huge or make it seem some type of way abnormal. And I understand that if you want to breed it because of the coloration, that might be something to take into consideration, because you can get certain snakes and make them look blue because you're taking, certain genes. But when it's not reasonable and you're doing it because of the gene, or you want to sell so many snakes, then don't do it. Don't just do it for the money, I think.
Can you share a little bit about your business and what it's been like for you as far as becoming an exotic animal handler, and doing presentations and educational courses for people onto the sales of exotic animals?
Absolutely. Give me 1 second. Let me put Moonlight back here, and I'll be right back. So sales, sadly to say, there's a traumatic expression of money when it comes to selling reptiles. It is lucrative. I don't like to say it's lucrative, but fortunately, it is. You can have anywhere between 15 to 60 eggs, depending on the species that you're working with.
Oh,
and
my
the animal
goodness.
can sell anywhere between 400 and up to 150,000, depending on the species or what genetic you're working with. So the opportunity to make the money is there, but you have to put in the work. It takes years to raise an animal, to raise it to maturity. And I like to teach, people and actually come into this niche and work with these animals to see if they are made for it. Because there's a lot of things people stumble upon when they first join the game. How to actually keep the animal alive, husbandry, how to focus on certain species that you love. Because when you come into the reptile world, you see the snake and then you're like, let's go to the reptile show. Let's see what they have or what snakes I could get. And then you see a lizard and you want to take that lizard home. And out of nowhere, you have 30 plus animals that you originally just started with the ball python, and out of nowhere, you have an Asian water monitor. So it can quickly become excessive for people who don't have that tolerance or that way of gauging themselves and saying, okay, I'm going to stick to the plan and I'm going to do this for 4 years. Ball pythons have the opportunity of breeding, when they meet maturity or certain weights. So it's quicker for people to breed them because they're power feeding the animal or they're doing a certain structure or some way. I stay away from ball pythons for that reason, because I don't like easy things in life. I like to be challenged. I work with rhino iguanas. I've been raising them for 4 years now. They haven't bred for me. I have Argentine tegus, Burmese pythons, reticulated pythons, boa constrictors, Argus monitors. I work with these species because I love them. Find the passion or the niche you like. You could like frogs, and you can make a fortune in frogs because frogs produce a lot. But you got to think smart. Think on your feet and know where you're going to put your money, know what you're going to do, have a plan, have a structure, because I messed up. I messed up a lot. In the beginning, I was just selling and selling and selling. I was putting it back into my animals, but at the same time, I was doing it for the wrong reason. I was selling a certain species that I didn't like, but I knew would make me a lucrative amount of money. So I started downgrading, and I took down some of my animals, and I sold them off, or I shipped them around the states. We do work with various shipping companies like Ship Your Reptiles, Red Line Shipping. We also work with FedEx directly. So if you need any problem, you have any problems with the shipment, we contact them, make sure where the package is at. Everything is secure. We usually ship, or we have to ship within 24 hours express, meaning that animal will arrive at 10:30 in the morning the following day. It is all secure. It's under Lacey Act, meaning that we have the ability to export and transport exotic animals in the United States. We have to keep up with certain laws in effect, meaning if I meet somebody in New Mexico or New York and they want to buy a caiman from me, I'm sorry, but I can't ship it out because it is an illegal species in your state. But if you tell me you live in California, then maybe we can work something out. Or if I know some other breeder in the States that might be able to ship to your state because they have the ability or it's legal, then we work that out. There's a lot of things that play out when somebody comes up to me and says, I want to buy an animal, or what do I need to do? I usually write out an email having anywhere between 5 to 7 formularies per the species, so you can study up and know exactly what you have to give it, humidity wise, temperatures, if you need a thermostat, what are the things you're going to need. And once you study that and you show me that you are ready for that species by telling me, I'm ready or I want to buy this species, then at that time I ask you to purchase an enclosure, or I can sell you one through whatever. We work with a company here. Well, I don't work with him directly. He has his own business. His name is Ever Evolving Exotics in Tucson. So everybody usually goes and buys their enclosure there. They snap a picture or show me the receipt from Lee's, and then we can sell you the animal. I do take payment plans from 300 and above to 1,000. We can do up to 2 months, and from 1,000 to 7,000, we can do up to 3 months, and that would be with the 25% deposit. All of these animals come from the U.S., UK, Canada. Some exportation was actually canceled with Mexico, but they were on the lines of working with Morph Market, so they can transport from Mexico to the U.S. I'm not sure exactly how the legality thing is, but I do ship out to Mexico. There's a lot of keepers out there as well. Yeah, man, that's pretty much the gist. But if you like morphology, that's something that I love. I like working with genes and codominant genes and certain genetics. If you like certain species just to keep it yourself as a pet, by all means, I can find the right pet for you.
Man, I love how in touch you are with that world and how much you know about it. It's so,
appreciate you.
I don't know. It's so nice looking hearing you talk about all that shit, because I have no idea, and I have a couple of friends who have bought some snakes from you, and damn, fucking and beautiful, bro. So beautiful.
Yeah, man. Gus, the other DJ, Gustavo, he bought a ball python from us, I think, right after Zima. And who else? Some of your friends, Debbie, Cece. They hired us for the educational showings. The educational portion, I honestly just stumbled upon it because I like educating kids. I don't have patience at all. I see myself as a very impatient person, but I like to have that conversation with the child because they're more in tune. They actually pay attention to the details instead of just saying, "Oh, look, it's a lizard. That's very nice." No, they're looking at the feet, they're touching the nails, they're asking me questions about it like this, and that. Because they have a more in tune sense. They haven't gone through that filter process. They haven't lost themselves yet. So it's like, it's beautiful to teach children in that way. And as well, when we graduated from Youth Build, it was a program. My wife was pregnant at the time with our first child. And we were going for 1 week to build houses for Chicanos por la Causa or for any low-income families. We work directly with PepTech, Dr. Arnold. We got our NCCR card with him. And then the following week, we would work for our high school diploma. So we got our high school diploma, and we graduated through that product line. Now, what I want to do, or what we want to do as the whole wildlife sanctuary, is bring some type of sensor or some type of foundation that would bring children that are low income from the ages of 16 to 25, are about to finish high school or a bit behind, because that's where we were at, and somehow incorporate the animals into that same product. Instead of them building homes for low income families, they can raise eggs, learn the process of breeding animals, and actually have a chance to finish their high school diploma. A lot of people just think of the GED, but we have the opportunity to get our high school diploma through Penn Foster Academy. So things like that we would like to bring into the community as well.
Wow. You said your wife was pregnant when she was how old?
She was 17. She turned 18 when she was pregnant. Yeah.
Man, what was it like? Like young love like that, and having a family so young. Because like right now, I feel like I'm barely like getting to the point where I'm thinking about having a family and wanting a family, and I don't think I've ever had that feeling before.
You have to grow up really quick. It was a point where I have to figure out now what I wanted to do. I went through a lot of hurdles. I had a lot of struggles. I was booked into jail in the process of my second child, actually, on her second birthday. I missed it. I was released a week after her second birthday. I was mass trafficking marijuana from Las Vegas to Arizona, and all of those things happened after I graduated. And we finished our program in 2015, 16. When my daughters came into play, it was very hard for me to wrap myself around that and actually figure out what I wanted to do or what I needed to do. I attempted to go into the military. I was in processing for 3 years because I was overweight. I was a guy of 287 pounds. I lost that weight within 3 months. I went to MEPS, in the Military Examination Processing Center in Phoenix. Um, I refused the job or the opportunity at the time where I was going to sign. I was racially profiled by a guy who was re-signing on to the military for the Air Force, I believe. He told the MPs that I was smoking marijuana in the in the hotel room as I was going to process in the military. I took a lavender scented bath or Epsom salt bath because I was trying to lose water weight. But this guy said that I was smoking pot. The next day, they dropped us all. I came out clear, and the guy was sitting inside of an office with the MPs chained up. That they were taking him into the interrogation to see if it was a racial profile case, because if he had already signed when that had happened, so it was like bad for him for his processing as well. But the moment that I talked to the staff sergeant, I told him I would really like to join the military, but at this point, I'm very disappointed of the way that you guys run your shit show. You know, it's like it's all just bullshit. And I left that ground, and I said I was going to find a job, and I told the master sergeant that he will hear me on the radio or on TV, but he wasn't going to have me as a soldier.
Man, that's something, bro. That's something. So you were there and you were literally about to sign and all this shit's going down right in front of you.
Yep.
Yeah, man, you're the man, bro. I can admire people who can make decisions for themselves like that, especially when, you know, there's financial gain, you know, from doing something like that, you know, from joining the military, which I feel like is a lot of people's big pluses when joining the military. And unfortunately for like a lot of low income people, or people who are wanting to, you know, get their life straight right away, it's such an easy out. Well, I don't want to say easy because, you know, like, you know, you do have to work very hard for it. Like you said, like you even had to lose how much weight did you lose?
71 pounds in the mass of 3 months.
Bro, I'm on a weight loss journey right now.
I could tell, bro. You look thinner.
Thank you, bro. I've been working on it, man. I've been working on it a lot. I hit 263 last year, and like that's like the biggest I've ever been in my life. And I remember like the pants that my go-to pants, the same jeans that I would wear all the time that I knew fit me decent, were starting to not fit me anymore. Like, yo, what the fuck is going on? And in that same day, my girlfriend invited me to go swimming, and I didn't want to go, bro, because I felt so self-conscious about my body. And I was like, man, this has got to change. I was fucking snoring all loud at night and like roll up, all these things, bro. And I was feeling unhealthy. My energy was low. And I was like, man, this is it. This is it for me. I'm tired of being unhealthy. I've been unhealthy my whole life. I need to make this change for myself. And surely, like, I started like cutting back on like my meal portions. And you know, eating salads here and there, nothing too strict. And I was taking a lot of L's still, bro. Like I would do decent one day, and then as soon as the weekend hit, boom, bro, I was fucking at Filiberto's at fucking after my DJ gig, you know, and fucking on my bed 10 minutes later eating some super fries, watching TV. And I started noticing that a lot of that was coming from like the drinking, bro. And like I was like, man, every time I drink, it makes me hungry, and then I'm up after I'm done working, and I want to eat, and I want to eat, and I want to eat, And if it's to sober up or to get rid of a hangover, you're not eating anything healthy. You know what I mean? You're fucking yourself up. You're eating like a savage. And yeah, bro, I had to cut the alcohol out for a little bit. And as soon as I cut the alcohol out, boom, bro, I started shredding weight. So much weight. And like I went from 263 and I'm like 217 right now.
Damn, bro. Yeah, you look thinner in that profile picture you put up.
Yeah, man, I'm working on it, bro. I want to fucking feel healthy. I want to fucking take my shirt off. I want to like, look good for my girl. I want to look good when I perform. I want to be able to take pictures and feel confident in posting them. You know, it all aligns with my job too, like I have to post a lot on social media. I have to take lots of pictures. So like if I'm not comfortable in my own skin while trying to do that, then it makes my job a lot harder and my career is progressing a lot slower. So in that sense, it really helped too because I'm very business minded. So like on that end, it even helped me motivate myself to lose weight. But damn, thank God I did. I'm really proud of myself right now, and I feel like and I feel like the discipline that I've had with my diet and the not drinking has really elevated my confidence and made me feel good about myself, bro. A lot of it had to do with the discipline, to be honest.
Yeah, bro. I honestly don't like drinking. I don't like drinking. That day you offered us that shot, that's all I had. And I hadn't touched a drink maybe in about 6 months.
Jesus.
I can smoke pot all you want, brother, but I can't. I can't drink.
Yeah, bro. And you know what? Like, I'm not like trying to like quit drinking completely or anything like that. I just saw that it was like getting in the way of my goals a little bit. So I was like, all right, we're gonna cut this out for a while and see how I feel. And it's tough, bro, in the DJ world, especially with the drinking, bro, because obviously people try to buy you drinks, try to have a shot with you, and they just paid fucking $15 for some expensive Patron shot that I don't want to take, and like you feel guilty sometimes, but I just don't do it. I just tell them
The
like,
people make you an alcoholic.
yeah, I don't want to blame it. Maybe I should blame it on other people. Fuck it. They can take that one for the team, huh? They can take that one for the team.
It's not bad. They're doing it at a heart.
Dude, and I'm a terror. Like, I like smoking weed, but I get so high, bro. I get so high so easy, and I'm fucking blitz, bro. Like, I'm fucking, I can't think straight. I can't talk straight for like 20, 30 minutes before I actually start feeling good.
You should hit up Chris, bro, because when it comes to weed strains, he knows a lot. Like, when it comes to hybrids, there's some that he pointed my direction, and now it's like a go-to because it's like it gives me like a temporal high. I feel blissful, but I'm not all stupid high and sitting in the couch. I'm just chill
on that tonto shit when you're fucking gone off of fucking some savage strain. Yeah, bro. Big shout out to Chris. Honestly, I love Chris Carr so much, man, and he really
beautiful soul.
Yeah, man. He's been so great to me throughout my career, and fuck, he really does know a lot about weed. Have you seen his videos? His puff videos?
Yeah,
dude,
bro.
He sounds so good on the mic. I love listening to him on the mic, man. I'm big ups to Chris, man. I miss you, brother.
He's the one who kind of pointed me into like podcasting, brother, because like I saw my first podcast was with Chris, and then after that I went on with GP Snakes Gerson, and then I said, you know what? I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to see where it goes. I have people that from different areas in life that might want to share their story. This all started from vlogging. I was vlogging back in the day and taking videos in California, coming back with my animals and stuff like that. We met up one day with Chris and Dominic Valdenegro, and we were just going over our YouTubes. And if it wasn't for that coffee date that we had, we wouldn't have mentioned anything about Safari Night. It was that moment that pushed us to that catalyst just for a coffee drink. So it's like starting from ground zero that develop something larger. And Chris, bro, you need to get back to podcasting. Like, you sound hella good on the radio, bro.
Yeah, his voice is like
It's meant for it.
Yeah, it's good for it, man. It's good. It's so clear and crisp and different. I love it. I love it. I'm a fan, Chris. I'm a fan.
Big time, bro.
Bro, we kind of delved into like the business side of things and like your aspirations in music, why you chose music, your previous career, your foundation. As a child, what do you remember? And you're like, I want to be this when I grow up. Like, I want to be the president, or I want to be an astronaut. Do you remember anything of that?
Yeah, I had a couple, bro. I grew up on my early life. I grew up on a ranch, with my godfather, and we were raising cattle, and we were planting alfalfa, and this was like the only solid father figure I ever had in my life. And I wanted to be just like him, bro. I wanted to be on a fucking ranch, riding horses and fucking, breeding cattle and like taking care of them and transporting them. And I love that whole peacefulness of the outdoors. And even till now, dude, there's like something so peaceful about manual labor. Like the aftermath of manual labor really does something for me. I don't know what it triggers in my body or in my brain, but I feel such like a sense of relief, and I feel so complete after I do it. But yeah, I wanted to be just like him, man. I wanted to have a ranch, and I wanted to have some animals, and I wanted to sell cows and pack alfalfa and ship it off to different places. And then as I got like a little bit later down the road, like in my 10s, 11s, 12s, I really wanted to be a doctor. And I was like, I want to help people. I want to make sure people are healthy. And I had stuck to that for a while. But I'm not sure if that's like something that I was just choosing because of the security, you know? And I don't know. I remember being little and Googling like best paying jobs in the US. And like I remember the first one that came up was like anesthesiologist, and I said, yeah, that's the one I want to be. So like I don't know if that stemmed from like
curiosity.
Yeah, or like just like where I was financially, and me like self-consciously choosing something that necessarily that I wasn't interested in, but something that I knew was going to be secure for my family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, brother. I think that stems a lot into like our industry, where a lot of people get into it for the wrong reasons. Whether it's the music industry, the modeling industry, photography industry, the reptile industry. Everybody thinks that it's like a rush of a roll and you're going to have bills the next day. No, it's like it takes so much grind, so much blood and sweat and tears. And you have those days where you're like, shit, I didn't make a dime. I didn't make anything. And I put in so much work. But those are the days that make you feel better. And you're like, damn, if I don't give up, the next time it's going to be better.
Yeah, man. All through the early stages of my career, bro, it was so scary, bro. I was getting paid like $50, like a bar tab. I would make like commission off of like the bar sales or whatever I could get my hands on, was good enough for me. And I really had to like tough it out for a long time. I had to either borrow equipment from my friends until I had enough for my own. And then once I did have enough for my own, like it was still hard because it's still something you have to maintain, take care of. And fuck, man, like it's a very slow process. And it's very an insecure feeling knowing that like you're not making money off of your craft that you spent so much money on already.
But I mean, as long as you hustle, and this is the thing that I like to say as well, a lot of the artists out there, a lot of the people get into the reptile industry, they leave their job right away. Don't fucking do that shit.
Bro,
Don't do that
fact, dude.
because
Go ahead.
We've gone through that shit, and we're telling you for a good reason. Don't fucking quit your job.
Yeah, dude, I'm originally an engineer producer, so like I was recording people, I was making beats prior to DJing. And I would have rappers come in all the time and like, we'll make some tracks together. And after a couple tracks, I remember like a lot of these people in the industry with me were like, yeah, I want to do this full time. I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to rap. I'm going to rap until I make it. And I'm like, bro, no, please, please don't quit your job. That's the worst idea you can have. From a financial point of view, and in the music industry, unless you have some undeniable, incredible product that you put out to the world that magically fucking spread like wildfire and is reaching everyone, you have to invest in your craft. You have to invest in the marketing. You have to invest in your studio time. You have to invest in yourself and keeping yourself healthy and keeping, like being on top of your bills, because next thing you know, like you don't have any money, right? You don't have any money. And so like people who are low income and that don't have any money and they need some money, most of the times they turn to something that's like illegal, and then next thing you know, you're putting yourself at risk. You're putting yourself in jeopardy of being like put into jail, or like putting your family's lives at risk, because then you don't have money for them, and money for a home, money for your food. So like it all comes around full circle. And sometimes having that financial backing is easily one of the most comfortable things you can do as an artist.
Yes, sir.
Yourself, but to keep yourself afloat and to keep your head in the right space.
Definitely, bro. Yeah, and honestly, when you stop doing things, and I mean this by a creative, because I'm a creative before I'm anything else. I love visual arts. As a kid, I've always been drawing in my notebooks. I always have some type of new painting coming in, and it's like, if you don't have the money to supply your thing or your artistic form, how is it that you're going to create? It's like you're trying to fund something that is impossible. Unless you have some type of a way of navigating your life where you have some type of sell every day, then by all means do it. But don't just go out on a float. We're doing it out of experience, because I'm pretty sure you've done it in the past where you're like, oh, I'm good right now, I'm gonna let it go, but I'll be right back. I've done that in the past.
Yeah, and just like I worked in radio for a lot of years, and I was producing shows. So I was talking to broadcasters, I was talking to people who were on air, and I was a content creator for them, and I was coaching them to be on air, to be online. And one of the most successful how do I put this, categories that would go on air, or like something that people were interested in listening to, was always something personal, something that was real from that person, something that they were going through, something that they experienced. And a lot of times, when you have a job and you're a musician, or right now I'm thinking about rappers or like songwriters, sometimes that work that you're putting in is giving you another aspect in your life to talk about or express yourself about. So like in that aspect, like you really are creating more content for yourself by staying in those fields and working through it and grinding to it until you do get to the space where you can let go of that work and really hone your craft full time.
There is such thing as value currency. What that means is that if you don't have enough value built up to give these anecdotes or stories to people, because stories tell a type of lesson. Everybody is looking for how to better themselves. If you are a healing human, or if you're a person of value, that is what you're trying to do, to heal yourself or to actually learn something from somebody who's in front of you. And if somebody has the opportunity to provide that story that enlightens you in some way, and now you change your life, how isn't that something that anybody else is looking for? It's like it's obvious why it is trending.
Yeah, and you're also relevant, bro. Like you can share something with someone that could, like you said, be having the exact same experience as you, and boom, it resonates and it clicks for them, and you just made a connection with someone. And not only that, but you were able to express something that that you've been through, and put it out to the world to share, and for somebody else to consume and enjoy, and translate your art in whatever form they want, really.
Definitely, bro. Bro, being with that mindset of always evolution, because I see that you saw being a doctor as your first choice, but you never lost that grind. Where did you work at before? Like, was there certain shops or places or pop owned shops that you like to shout out that you might have worked for?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out a very local fucking store named McDonald's in this bitch, because that was my first job ever, bro. That was my
Nick
first
D's.
job ever. Yeah, Mickey D's, bro. And I come from a line of Mickey D's workers. My mom worked at fucking Mickey D's. All my uncles and cousins and shit that came from Mexico worked at Mickey D's. And bro, I remember the exact day that I was able to work legally. I fucking got a job, bro. And I was grinding, bro. I was at McDonald's happier than life, bro. Fucking smiling, enjoying the shit out of it. And I worked at the McDonald's on 12th and Valencia. So it's probably like one of like the busiest McDonald's on the south side for those of the people that don't know Tucson. This intersection is like in a low income, like high traffic area. And bro, I was fucking grinding, bro. I was determined to be the best worker at that McDonald's, period. I remember there's this guy, bro. His nickname was Fish. I don't remember his actual name, but his nickname was Fish. And this motherfucker worked so hard, bro. And he was so good. He was so good. Every day I would go in there and try to like one up him and try to be better than this guy. But yeah, bro, I was at McDonald's for 2 years. And my mom at the time, she was living in the US, but not legally. And she was working under somebody else's social security number. And I'm like a year and a half in to my McDonald's career. And my mom calls me and she says, "Hey, hola, mijito. Hoy es, me habló, blah, blah, blah." She told me that, she's under investigation and that I should not work with her social security anymore. And I'm finishing up my junior year of high school, and now I'm the sole breadwinner for my home. So I pick up extra hours. I start working more. Literally, I'd be off at school at 2. I would work to like midnight. Um, and I was easily, you know, probably I'm pretty certain that I was the only person at my high school that was working full time and going to school at the time, at least that I knew. And it was tough, bro. It was tough. It felt like I had to do this for my whole family, and if I wasn't successful, then my family would, not
Be out
have
on a limb.
food. Yeah. And then even worse, bro, I got to the point where like I was stacking up extra hours, getting overtime. I think I got like a quarter raise at some point, and I was like ecstatic about it. And then I get a letter in the mail, and my grandma, like, she's like, "Hey, mijito, like, can you open this for me? Tell me what it says." And it's from Section 8. And the letter said, "Hey, you make in your household, you make such and such money, so you don't qualify for Section 8 housing anymore."
Holy.
Yeah, bro. So I'm like, now I'm fucking working hard to make this money to make ends meet for my family, and now I've worked too hard, and they took my grandma's Section 8 away. And what Section 8 is, for people who don't know, it's like a housing opportunity for like low income families. So they help place you into homes and get a roof over your head at a really good price, and they help you pay some of the rent. Um, so we went from being helped with our rent to not being helped with our rent at all. And I was like, I felt very guilty, bro. I felt guilty. I felt like I had messed things up, you know?
So,
And unfortunately, like I literally had to go and meet with these people. Mind you, I'm 17, and I go meet with these people, and I find out exactly how much money I can make before they take my grandma's Section 8 housing away. And I cut down all my hours and made it work so that my grandma was able to keep her Section 8 and me still be able to work. And along with that, it cut down on our household income. So like now we weren't, having as much money. We weren't having enough money for food as enough money for bills, and enough money for leisure at that. Like we weren't really like going out or having fun or doing anything, but we always found ways to make ends meet. And my grandma I remember my grandma would make tortillas, bro. She's fucking make the best tortillas in the world, and we would sell it at our apartment complex. And she would sell a dozen tortillas for $2, bro. And she would make them out
what?
on a little balcony, bro. And people would literally, dude, we had lines. We had lines at the fucking apartment complex, me and my grandma, bro. And
For
she would
$2.
for $2, dude, $2, $2 a dozen, bro. And we would do things like that. We would have like yard sales. We would make like tamales, like anything that we could possibly do to make ends meet. Um, and yeah, man, like I'm so grateful for McDonald's in the sense of like, fuck, I needed a job and I needed to help my family, and this place gave me a place, to work and do that for my family, on top of like really fucking teaching me about the hustle, bro. Like people were working hard, bro, for minimum wage, for literally the minimum amount of money that you could make. People were working their ass off, bro. And I knew people at the McDonald's that I was working at that had been there for 5 years, 10 years, bro. And they were making maybe $2 more than me, $1 more than me, if they were lucky. And something clicked for me, like this isn't me. I can't do this. Like I can't be another McDonald's worker in my family the rest of my life. I gotta do something. I gotta make something of myself. And I graduated from high school, and I kept working. I remember I bought my first car, and my mom had literally, like, right when I was graduating, my mom ended up being able to find a job with a house cleaning company. So my mom was working again, thankfully, right at the end of my high school career. And it changed everything, bro. It literally went from me staying here in Tucson and keeping on the grind and helping my family, to me being able to do something for myself. And my mom had that conversation with me, and she told me, she's like, hey, I know you're worried, and I know you've done a lot for us, but you really should live your own life, and you should really go and expand and find yourself and do what you love, and that's what I did, bro. I sold my car, and I moved, bro. I moved to San Diego and fucking followed my dreams.
Bro, your story is an inspiration, bro. Your mom is your everything.
Yeah, bro. She's a warrior, bro. Single mom, a fucking education. Like, she went to college. She was an accountant in Mexico, like fucking pretty
Damn.
well off in Mexico. And she gave it all up, bro. Her friends, our family, her job. to move to some place with her son where she was gonna go and flip some burgers.
Damn.
Yeah, bro.
You know, it's not only your journey, it's like who was there? That's mama. That's crazy, brother. I wish I had that same type of love or aspiration towards my mother, but I don't have a mother of blood to say, you know. She left me when I was 7 years old. I was living with my grandparents. She was always with her other cohorts or her other husbands. It was very hard to actually have a concrete relationship with my mother. But yeah, I wish I had that same type of value woman in my life. You know, I have more than I can ask for now, as my mother-in-law is the same thing as a mother. But yeah, man, I commend your story. It is beautiful.
Um, when you were younger, with like um, with your mom leaving you at 7 and your dad passing away at 16, did you ever like try to like find someone to fill those voids, or what were you doing with yourself at the time?
Yeah, I went into like that dark vibe thing where I was just bringing in relationships and not even in relationships. It was more of just me feeding off their energy and just doing it for the wrong reasons. And once I got what I wanted from the relationship, I would just ghost them. It was very hard for me to actually find true love where it was just like stagnant. And when I met my wife, I knew it was that true connection, you know. And throughout the years, we had rough patches, but at the same time, it was developmental. Yes, I was filling in those voids, bro. I was.
When you met your wife, did you like did you have like a lot of feelings of insecurity because of like your hard relationships with your parents? So like typically for someone in a typical household, you know, they have both their parents. They have hopefully two parents who are in love and with each other and supporting each other, and they have that full family feel, you know. Do you feel like you not having that experience took a toll on your relationships?
Yeah, it did. I had grandpa and grandma though. They were there. My grandfather was my back. He was everything to me. He taught me the ways of being. He taught me business. He was an engineer back in the day. Um, he would actually build wrought iron doors, and I was 8 years old pitching $15,000 deals to businesses because he built wrought iron. So I was a little fat kid selling security windows.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man.
It's something different trying to develop a real relationship with someone, and then maybe not having anyone to look up to at that point for what a loving warm household should feel like, you know.
Yeah. 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 I feel like throughout the years, even with my children, like I was still a kid raising a kid. You know, I felt like I was too harsh on my daughter or I was very stern. I didn't know how to navigate certain things. So I would burst or I would have episodes where I would just start crying or have anxiety attacks because of it, because I didn't know how to handle that emotion. I didn't have that from my mother or my father. My father was always working 24/7. He worked for caregiving as well. He worked with people who were mentally disabled. And he was gone for 1 week, and then the week after that, he would find gigs, and I would hardly see him. So I was raised by my grandfather, honestly. But yeah, it was harsh to fill those voids, you know.
Yeah. Well, what was your grandfather like?
My grandfather was honestly the best person you can think of outside of home. In home, he was very silent, very strict, stern. When I was with him by myself, he would teach me lessons. He made me honestly, but when it was with my grandmother, he was always quiet, very silent. They had a very rough relationship. My aunt was actually mentally disabled, and they would both take care of him. So, honest B, I want to say it was because of her that they were still together. But it was a very disturbed, chaotic childhood for me, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, thank goodness, you know, like you at least had them to guide you and help you, and God knows that fucking raising a child as a child isn't easy.
Absolutely,
Um,
man.
yeah, but look at you now, bro. Look at you now, proud papa to two
We got to
girls,
do that, man. We
lots
got to
of
do that every day.
wonderful exotic animals. That's
They're
awesome.
the inspiration. They're the reason why we're here. These kids are honestly. My first child was the one who pushed me to the limits, where I saw things and experienced things, and I was like, damn, like this is life. Like imagine growing to your 20s and not having any responsibility. It's a different mindset because you're thinking about how am I going to feed my child? Where do I need to get the diapers? Taking them to their physical appointments. And my second child comes around, and then she's like another blessing. She actually had something through the beginning of her life called febrile seizures, so she seizes when she has high fevers, and that was another impactful story, that changed my whole perspective of the way I was guiding myself. So I feel like my children as well, they made my new me or my evolution of me.
Yeah, I've kind of been stuck on that recently because I've been thinking about like I finally got to a place in my career where I feel kind of stable. I feel like I have like a good business, I have a good head on my shoulders. I'm not out like partying and getting fucked up like I used to. I'm definitely more in touch with like my real self, I feel like, rather than like you said, fucking filling those voids. And I've been thinking about a family a lot lately, and my partner at right now is Stephanie. She's she's very hesitant about having a family because of her childhood traumas and what she's experienced as a child. So she's very afraid of to bring someone into the world and not be a successful parent. And that's been resonating a lot with me lately, bro. Like I feel like in my heart, like I really want to have children and a family, because I feel like that's how our essence is carried out in the world. You know what I mean? Like I feel like when people have children, that is literally your bloodline, like something that came directly from you and the other person you chose to make this one being, and that is what's going to carry you years beyond the time that you're gone, hopefully. um
And see, to say it, bro, because like look at the greats, Cesar Chavez or Martin Luther King Jr. You know, it is not for everybody, and if that is your calling, by all means pursue it. Because if you're being like you're saying, you're resonating with it on a constant, it's because it's picking at your brain. But there's certain people out there that like some like females get this a lot. Like, when are you gonna grow up? When are you gonna get a child? Or when are you gonna get married? The fuck you mean? Why are you questioning her when it's not your life? It is not you to say what you want. But at the same time, some people have that calling to be a father or a mother. Everybody has their different perspective in life. But I like that you mentioned that because it's something that alerts me a lot on a daily, because I see that within my family. Like, oh, you guys are done? No more kids? Like, it's none of your business. It's my family. That is why you get married, I'd say. Or marriage is not something that I like to put a frame on it, because throughout the years I've evolved my thinking of it. But when you're married, or you're with somebody and you love them and you want to share a new life with them, you're creating something new. So the things that bother those people are no longer inside of this pot. This pot is only yours and your significant others.
Yeah, and like even the whole marriage thing, bro. I really didn't believe in marriage for a long time, and maybe I just like wasn't with the right partners, or maybe it was like my past childhood traumas that I hadn't seen a successful marriage before in my life. Um, but I ended up becoming an ordained minister because my best friend Tarzan was getting married, and he wanted me to marry him and his wife. And when I was learning about it, and as I was like taking the course online, like this is like something like truly special that happens between two people, bro. It's two people dedicating their lives to each other through thick and thin, and I feel like it gave me like such a great appreciation for like what it is to be a partner and what it is to have a family and what it is to have a successful marriage with someone. And now I feel like that's like something that I want, not for like the title or like the security of knowing that someone loves me, but the the feeling of breaking a cycle and not being scared of something like that from our past traumas, and feeling like, hey, you know what, maybe I didn't have these experiences growing up, maybe I didn't have a happy, you know, mama papa experience growing up, but maybe I can break that cycle, and maybe I can be, you know, an
The best
example for
father.
my children and for who's to come after me.
Yeah, that's inspirational because you're showing that to your generation, and like you said, it carries your essence. Because give it or not, man, 9 times out of 10, that same type of navigation or thought process is still within that child. So if you have a child that, for say, Fernandez or Vicente Fernandez, Fernando Fernandez, his son, he was a singer as well, and it's not because daddy put him into the ring. It's because he worked his ass off as well as dad to get to that ring. You know, it's because it carries the essence, like you said.
Yeah, man. I wanna feel like I can leave this world one day and feel happy uh, with the way that I've treated people, and hopefully the way that I've raised my family, and that they continue doing the same for the Walters to come, or whatever the fuck they want to name themselves. I don't care.
Bro, we talked a lot about your spirit, but I have a couple questions here with spirituality that I want to get into touch. We talked about your dreams, your motivation. Do you have anybody you consider a motivation in your current life? Maybe a person or maybe an animal.
A motivation in my life. Um, it's hard to pick like a specific one, and like I guess like it'd be easier for me to navigate like a business wise, or like just in general in my life.
Just in general, when you wake up every morning, you're like, this is my motivation to get me up. But as well, is there anything that you resemble within a persona within your current life or an animal?
Um, I'm not sure. I have to think a lot about the animal part, but with a person, um, definitely my mom. I wanna make my mom proud, and I want her to be happy with the way, and feel proud of the way that she's raised her children. I feel like my mom is really down on herself for a lot of our experiences in our childhood. So I feel like when I win, she wins, and it really gives her a lot of peace of mind and happiness to see that her children are doing well despite all the challenges we had growing up. And aside from my mother, I think my partner Stephanie at the time. It's I think it might be a little bit different for men and women, but like women are powerful all on their own. They can do whatever. They can hone the world. They can rule the world all on their own, and not lose any sleep over it. But for a man, I feel like there's something that happens, at least for me, that when I'm around my partner and I'm with her, I'm like a superhuman, bro. I feel so good. I feel like I can conquer the world. Like she brings me so much peace and like so much positive energy, and like creates such a safe space for me to do what I do. And she really motivates me to like keep going. And in my line of work, as a DJ, um, it's hard for my partners, bro. Like for like the women that I've dated in my past, bro, it's all fun and games, and they love the idea of dating a DJ and like what comes with it, and they think, oh yeah, I can handle it. You know what I mean? I can deal with all like the girls coming up and saying hi and then posting pictures or whatever. And it works out like that for a little bit, and then it starts really settling in, like 3 4 months into the relationship, because that means like if my partner works a traditional job, like a 9 to 5 or whatever, um, when they're getting out of work, I'm like prepping to go into work. So like a lot of people who have dated me in the past, I don't think expected to feel the weight of, like, for example, me showing up at 3 a.m., you know, 4 nights a week.
But that speaks loud on security as well, bro. Because if that they're not feeling safe, and this goes to show, like, what about relationships with like dancers or people that are in the dancing industry? You know, it's like once you feel that security within yourself and you feel comfortable within your own skin, I think then at that point you lose that sense of distrust. You automatically give that trust to the person you love. And like you're saying, it might be that Stephanie is the case that you feel like a superhuman because she loves herself and you love yourself, and it's a beautiful chemistry.
Yeah, man, and she's been real supportive of my career, and like she never like trips about like me, like posting videos of girls dancing on the DJ booth and things like that. And I really do think you're right. It has a lot to do with security and like the trust that we put in each other. Also, like with the beginning of our relationship, like we set like really good foundations for each other and kind of like gave each other like mission statements of what we wanted out of the relationship, and then would periodically check in with each other. But now it feels so good, bro. Like I feel like a lot of this relationship I felt really scared. I felt really hurt still from my past experiences in relationships, and when I felt like I was like my connection was growing with the Stephanie, that a piece of me was just scared, like what's gonna go wrong, what's gonna mess up, what's gonna be the downfall. And instead of like me enjoying my relationship to the fullest with this person who I love and care about and enjoy being around, I always carried this unnecessary weight on my shoulders. And it was all because of past traumas and fear, bro. And I feel like I'm barely like getting over that hump, and man, it feels so good. It feels so
I can
good.
relate. Yeah, bro, because it's like it takes a certain point in your life to realize like we are the ones who are fucking up our own mindset, because if you're constantly thinking that, it's gonna happen. You know, it's just a matter of when you're putting it out there. And like you said, man, anything you think of, whether it's positive or you're negative, your mind does not have any sense of discrimination to your thoughts. It will make it realization as long as you continue to remember yourself. Oh, I'm going to get here to this point, or I'm going to lose my girlfriend because of this. And you continue to think that it's going to happen.
Yeah, and a lot of times, bro, like I feel like we choose the weight we carry.
Mhm.
You know, we pick and choose in our mind what thoughts we're gonna pay attention to, and which of those feelings that we're gonna choose for ourselves. And a lot of times, this hurt and this fear is self-inflicted because we're choosing to carry it with us. And being able to let go of something like that is one of the hardest things, um, and most important things that you can do for yourself, like mentally and spiritually, and every aspect in your life will change when you start choosing which weights you decide to carry or not.
Yeah. Yeah, bro, because like at the end of the day, man, it's all you. It's all you. Nobody else has your name. Bro, what animal do you think you resemble? Like, if you look into the spectrum of the world and you see all these animals, who's Walter's the don't?
And I think like maybe I really like the turtle or like the tortoise, because I feel like I try to create a safe space for everyone. I feel like I'm good at taking care of the people that I love. I feel like I'm good at taking care of the people around me. Um, I feel like I'm passionate about like long lasting relationships and building connections with others. Um, and I like helping others. And the other day I saw a video of it was a turtle swimming in a pond, and it had flipped over. And it was waddling all crazy. The flippers were going up, and it was very clearly in distress. And in the same pond, there was maybe like 10 or 12 other turtles, and they all gathered around the bottom of where this other turtle was flipped upside down, until the turtle who was flipped upside down could find a grip with one of its feet, and was able to flip back over. And I don't know why, but that like resonated with me so much. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like I like the turtle. What do you think?
Yeah, man, the turtle is very wise. There's lots of hidden knowledge. Um, very blunt. Um I'm thinking of Master Oogway here. Yeah, man, you sense, and it might be that we were raised by our grandparents. It's just that old soul type of feeling.
Oh shit! Damn, I hadn't even thought about that.
That old soul carries that essence. It carries that power. I remember my grandfather talking about him being 9 to 16 years old, carrying sacks of rice on his back because he needed to provide for his aunts. His mom had to send him off with his aunts because they had a small, medium ranch in Pueblo Nuevo, well, not actually Pueblo, no, Toluca, Estado de Toluca, Mexico.
Toluca.
And he would wake up in the morning, go to school, pick up some sacks of rice, come back to school. So he would ditch classes or whatever he was being taught to go back and work. So it was like kind of your story, my grandfather, old souls. Man, I think the turtle does have a lot of intuition. They don't easily forget a lot of things. Looking at the spectrum of the animal, they're very inquisitive. They're very opportunist. When they eat, they're very savage. They tend to tear everything apart, and they move their hands forward, tearing the animal to pieces. There's a lot of intuition because I think they're not partially blind, or they're not blind at all, I think. But their senses, it's almost like the shell might carry some type of vibrance. But I don't know if you didn't know, but when you touch the turtle or the tortoise, the top shell has sensory neurons or certain type of waves that if you touch it, you can damage it. It's kind of like if you were touching its skin. So that's why they say don't paint your turtle or don't put anything on your turtle's back, because you can essentially damage its back. It might be the case that there's some type of sensory going on, that he's carrying all that weight in himself, What is your favorite animal, bro?
My favorite animal. Oh, dude, I think my favorite animal is the cockroach.
The cockroach?
The cockroach, bro, is resilient, and it withstands
radiation.
It pushes through. It feeds on whatever it can take. It fucking can be small. It can be huge. It's like to the regular human, it's a pest. It's a pest, And in my mind, when I think of the cockroach, I just think of like a survivor, someone who's willing to do anything to survive. And aside from everything going against them, they're still everywhere, and they still live.
Bro, I just got this thought, but you should get some hissing roaches and then
Oh,
record the beat and then put it in your music.
Put it in my mixes, huh? Yo, that'd be crazy. That'd be so awesome. Some shakers.
People keep them, bro. Like you have colonies of cockroaches. I used to keep dubias. I had an infestation going on. I had to get rid of them, but it was like a colony of like 100 and some, and then out of nowhere is like 1,000 and some. But I was feeding them to my animals, the dubia roaches.
Holy shit! It's like from hundreds to thousands, of like an exponential growth.
Yeah, bro. They multiply
Yeah.
like crazy.
Yeah, but to me, I don't know why cockroaches just seem so incredible to me. I feel like something that's never gonna go away, no matter how much people try to get rid of it. It's gonna be there, and it's gonna keep grinding, doing what it has to survive.
Yeah, man. We don't look at the small microscopic form. And I like looking at the microscopic area of our perception. There's a lot of shit going on. We don't think about all the transaction, you know? Like, for example, what happens when you eat something? Like, we don't think about like your stomach moving. We don't think about it metabolizing all those fluids, but it's a lot of shit. So a lot of these organs are communicating with each other. All of these specimens are talking. I think that's interesting in itself. Things we don't really comprehend.
Huh.
Do you feel any type of spiritual connection to an animal? Kind of like when you might see a cat, bird appear onto you, or any animal that you think have a presence in your life.
I'm not too certain, but and I'm not sure if it's just like what I was paying attention to during that time of my life, because it stuck out to me. But I feel like definitely like in my younger years, like 17 through like 19, I kept getting followed around by owls, bro.
Owls.
Owls, bro. And like I would see them like hella random and shit all the time. And then I remember like me and my best friend Tarzan, we moved out to San Diego together. And
Hey, is this the real Tarzan you're talking about?
No, yeah, he's the realest Tarzan I know. He's the realest Tarzan I know. But yeah, he's my best friend, man. We moved out there together. He was like on his last limbs here in Tucson, going through some shit, and I had been planning to move with all these friends to California and live together. And then as the days started trickling down to us like moving out and going over there, like one by one they started dropping. And like next thing you know, I was by myself, and I said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do this." 2 days before I left, my homie Tarzan calls me, and he's like, "Hey, I really don't know what's going on in my life right now. Like I got all this shit going on. Would you mind if I came with you?" And I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, perfect." We didn't have a job or anything out there. We both had maybe like I think he had maybe like $1,000 saved up from like working, and I had just sold my car, so I had like $1,500 maybe, and we were gonna go out there and we were gonna try to find a job, and hopefully within the month we were able to make some money to keep living out there. It was our goal. Anyways, plane tickets were too expensive. I didn't have a car anymore. So we took a bus from here to San Diego, and then we got dropped off in the middle of the fucking night by the pier because we obviously chose the cheapest bus ticket possible. Fucked around in downtown San Diego, just trying to find some place we can fucking put our heads under for a little bit until we got a car rental. And we weren't moving into our apartment for another 3 days. So we were living in the car for the time being, looking for jobs. And I remember the first night we parked at a hotel, and we go to the back parking lot of the hotel, and we get ready to go to sleep, and we're under a light post. And I look up, bro, and there's a fucking big ass owl on top of the light post. And I remember just staring at it, and like I was in shock at first, and then the owl wouldn't break eye contact with me. It was just like it felt like it was staring directly in my soul. And I remember laying in the car just staring at the fucking owl for like an hour until I passed out. And then like in another two instances in San Diego, owls again, owls and owls. And then I fucking saw the fourth kind, started freaking myself out and shit. I was like, oh my God, is this some extraterrestrial fucking supernatural shit going on with me or what?
Damn, the owl. The owl is very unique. Have you seen it without feathers? That shit looks crazy.
Yeah, that shit looks nuts without feathers.
It looks almost diabolical. Like it's like the gargoyles that they used to put in front of the churches. That's how it looks.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? It gives off that energy sometimes when like you stare at it like that, like something fucking powerful, like like.
I think they're high sentients. Birds are high sentients. They have some type of evolution that they just get it. Like they fly. Come on.
They fly, but they can also like fly together, and they can create formations. They can migrate. All like I to me, all like living species that fly are on some other shit. Like, have you? I'm sure you have, but one of like one of like my dream trips is to go and watch the monarch butterflies in Monterrey.
No, I haven't gone.
No, okay, so like monarch butterflies migrate all the way from like the tip of North America down to Mexico to like this like place where all these butterflies migrate to, and they go and and they mate and have children or whatever, have offspring. But the journey takes so long that it's literally generations of butterflies traveling to this destination, and they all fly together and they all show up to the same communal space. And to me, for them to be able to do something like that is
Takes a
fucking
lot.
mind-blowing. Generations of butterflies on one journey.
Damn.
That gives me the chills. That's almost like the ancestral thing, like we're butterflies in a sense. We're
Going through pupae stage and we're cocooning and we're becoming this beautiful butterfly.
Yeah, and
That's crazy.
We're all going somewhere. And then sometimes when you're that first generation, that second generation, you have no idea where you're going, but you know that's where you're supposed to go.
Yeah, man. Once you feel like you don't know where the hell you're at and you're like, am I here or not? And you feel good about it, it feels good. Bro, what is your favorite genre of music?
My favorite genre of music right now is I love house music right now. I love melodic house. I lap techno right now. I definitely wasn't like into electronic music at all growing up. I was very much into like boom bap and like hip hop, old school hip hop. I was creating like lo-fi beats, and I was creating boom bap beats. I was sampling a lot in my early stages of my career, and then I feel like I started there and then I ended with electronic music because I love the culture, bro, and I love the way that the music makes me feel. Sometimes a lot of these songs that I listen to, they don't really have like a lot of prominent lyrics, um, like rap music does, or like pop music or reggaeton does. And I really find it easy, like to relax and put myself in like in a trance almost with this style of music. And it's fucking grown on me, and I love it. And the community's been incredible, and I love my journey with it right now because definitely like a lot of my fans and my followers are not big electronic music lovers. Um, and for me to do something like electronic music or shift into electronic music felt really good because it felt like I was doing something for myself. It felt like I wasn't just trying to like people please. and that's what I do at the clubs, you know, like I people please at the clubs most of the times, and I wish I could go and fucking rip 4 hours of house music at a nightclub on a Saturday, but that's just like not the way it works when you work as an open format DJ, and like people are going out to have fun. Um, so I feel like it was like a good step for me to really do something for myself and to hone in onto something that I love, just on my own and not for anybody else. As far as like my
Do you think it's like our culture here in Tucson? Sorry to interrupt you there, bro, but the culture. Do you think it's like the house music that we don't have enough of viewers or calling for house music, or do you think that something that needs to be developed?
It definitely exists. It definitely exists, and I feel like the community is pretty strong in Tucson. It's just like very spread out. Um, Spread out in the sense where like a lot of different age groups love that type of music and might not like a certain type of venue that they can all congregate to. But I remember in my early DJ years, like there was DJs that were throwing parties. I remember I used to go to these parties called Dazed and Confused. It was this party group, and they would throw the fucking coolest fucking after parties ever, bro. You show up at 3 a.m. You show up at Solar Culture, Galactic Center, or some random warehouse. There's this fucking, I remember my first time going, there's a fucking huge fucking bodyguard at the door checking people in. And I look in and it's pitch black and all you see is fucking lasers and like loud ass electronic music. And this guy pats me down as I'm going in, and at the end of him patting me down, this fool, like, he gives me a hug, bro. He like embraces me and he's like, welcome, come on in. And, and dude, it was like the trippiest experience because like from all the shows, all the hip hop shows I had done, all of like the pop shows I had done, I had never had a bodyguard welcome me so warmly to like some place, you know?
Yeah.
And after that, bro, I started realizing how in touch that community is with each other and how good they are to each other. And then I started looking into the music itself and started producing some of it. And I love the production standpoint. It's like a four in the floor. So it's like a kick, a hi-hat, and then a snare. And that's repeatedly through the whole song. So like when you're watching this live and you're dancing and you're really trying to like be in touch with like the performance, it's really easy to like get into a trance and find a safe space for yourself, and it almost feels like you're meditating, you know. It feels like you're in line with like a lot of other people, and like you're in the same wavelength with a lot of other people at those shows. So I really love the electronic world right now.
Yeah, it's transformative. There's a lot of things going on with it, huh? Bro, since we tapped into music, let's tap into those QAs and we should be done.
All
So
right.
we did talk about your spirit animal, bro. So we're gonna go with the turtle, right? You said you're more in resemblance to the turtle.
Yeah.
Or the owl, yeah, the turtle. Bro, if you had to choose between both R&B or modern hip hop,
R&B. I love R&B because there's real singers. At least old R&B, you had to be a real singer.
Yep.
And a lot of R&B artists are usually like talking about something very personal, talking about love, their relationships, you know, something that, you know, might have happened to them in their lives. And it's I can really admire when someone puts himself in a vulnerable place like that. And yeah, I'd take R&B over modern hip hop, I think.
Yeah, bro. R&B is like, I think I grew up in R&B and doo-wop. That's why I love it.
Okay.
Club gigs, festivals, or yard events?
I think festivals, just because I get to play what I want. I get to play the music that I enjoy, and I get to share that for people who are going there for music and to have a sonic experience compared to like the nightclub. People can go to a nightclub for a lot of reasons, and it not just be the music. It can be for a socializing. It could be for meeting, new friends. It could be for drinking. It can be for just getting out of the house. And a lot of times it is to go and hear some music and dance. But at a festival, that's the sole reason you're going.
Yep. A festival can create a lot of momentum because of the energy that's going on. And I understand that value in the festival, bro. So eventually we got to make the next Woodstock. We got to make that happen.
I think that's one of my dreams. I've taken a lot of business ventures this year, so I've kind of like stepped away from Zima for a little bit until I can like really hone in on where I can host it next. But I think in the long run for my entertainment career, I think that's definitely where I want to go. I definitely want to create events, and I feel like I'm good at it, and I feel like I'm really good at gathering the right people and setting the right vibe, you know?
Yeah, bro, you have a lot of momentum in you, and the way you carry yourself, your charisma. It's probably those tortillas you would sell.
$2 a dozen at my grandma.
Man, golden, bro. Favorite psychedelic?
Probably LSD, probably acid. I had such like a fucking humbling experience this last time I took it. I took it, and this is dumb because like I've had experiences before, but I took it going to a festival, and I kind of took it in a form of like I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna party, I'm gonna party with this, and that shit humbled me so fucking quick, bro, so fucking quick. I remember just standing there and like fucking all the boots and cats were sounding like and I remember, bro, just like I had bought VIP passes to the show, and I had taken my current partner with me, and I remember we were having a conversation with each other, and we are just like standing there, we're like both like on the ride already, and we're like, yo, what should we do? And I couldn't figure it out, and I remember like feeling very insecure, and I remember feeling like pretty alone in the moment. And I remember saying like, oh, maybe we can just go to the little VIP area on the side. And she's like, yeah, the little VIP area in the side. And then at that moment, for some reason, like something clicked to me and to my partner, like, yo, what the fuck do we mean the little VIP section on the side? Like, that doesn't mean shit. You know what I mean? All of that like glamour or like social status of being in a space like that wasn't going to take away the feeling of aloneness or insecurity that I was feeling at the time. And
You
like,
should have jumped in the crowd, bro.
bro, I should have, but dude, I was having like such like a humbling experience at the time that it really made me think about like all the things that really matter to me. Like why do I spend money on these fucking $200 shirts? Why do I buy $400 shoes so someone can say they're nice? Why don't, if I really love this shirt or I really love these shoes, like why don't I just buy the bootleg version of them that cost half the price? How come I don't do that?
Or support my local business owner?
Yeah, why am I not doing that? Like, is it because I have something to prove to others? And it couldn't be that, like, because I could have just bought some fake shit and wore that, and people would have maybe not better than I had it. Or like, was I doing that to myself, to fill some sort of void, to feel like I have something, to feel like I've made something of myself, to give myself some sort of validation through these items that mean nothing, mean nothing, bro.
It's a big rabbit hole, bro, and it continues.
Huge, It's huge.
Have you done mushrooms or anything else with in regards to psychedelics?
Yeah. I love me some mushrooms. I love me some mushrooms too. It's definitely something I like to do more like in nature like activities or when I'm out exploring. And I feel like a lot more in touch with like the people around me when I do mushrooms compared to like my LSD trips have been very to myself and very personal compared to my mushroom experiences. But I'm actually prepping for like a good mushroom trip coming up soon. I think I have some good ones, and I'm waiting for like a good 4 or 5 days that I have off where I can really just relax and see what happens.
Yeah, bro. It's good. It's I've been doing a bit of studying up on it since I interviewed Gianna. If you want to see what the effects and the resources are, watch our episode. But oh, did my camera go out, bro?
Yeah. Webcam. It says EOS webcam utility.
Yeah, my battery died on that. Let's put you on here. Yeah, man. Mushrooms have a lot of properties that have detoxifying, or they detoxify a lot of your body, and I think they're very beneficial. You know.
Do you try to like microdose them, or do you try to go for like some heavier trips, or how do you go about that?
So I tried to spend them out 6 months to a year. I don't really like to do it repetitively, but if I gotten into it, I'll do it for that month where I prepare myself. I'll take a little bit first, and then I'll go up because I want to achieve that state. Because in those higher states is where you find a bit of knowledge or a bit of wisdom. Um, I'd say maybe microdosing to me would be almost like the placebo effect. I don't think it has or it benefits any way other than physically or your health. But when you achieve those lower states, you do seem to have some type of clarity. I've noticed that you tend to see more coloration or vibrance in the world. But I honestly don't see the benefit as if you were to take the dose that you would like. I like 2 to 2.5. That would be a good spot. 1.7 to 1.9 is what usually people say is a good dose. It all depends, bro. Like you could take a certain amount, but until you figure out that dosage, then at that point you achieve that trip. And I think after that point where I no longer have any, and I at that point take my last of it, is usually when I achieve that state, and then I don't do it again for another 6 months.
Yeah, I feel that too. I think sometimes like when I'm doing psychedelics, like I feel like in my life like I have like a lot of control over what happens like with my business, with my studio, with my family. So like there's a lot of control involved with my lifestyle. And when I do psychedelics, I think one of my favorite parts is feeling not in control and feeling like I'm losing the reins and letting it take me somewhere rather than me planning to go somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. And like I've achieved states with LSD to the point where I would somewhere, I don't know if the timeline broke, but I felt like I was transporting myself throughout my house, where I would wake up and it was 6 o'clock, and then I don't know where I would be sitting down eating food. Then I don't know where 3 hours later passed, but I thought it was 2 minutes later and I was in the shower. Like it's insane what you can achieve by just letting go. But
The break in time through psychedelics is one of like the craziest experiences, bro. Because it could feel like you said, hours, and it's only been minutes, or it could feel like minutes and it's been hours. I wonder what that is like. Or like even when like normal everyday life, you ever feel like a day just goes by super slow compared to some other days? I wonder if that's like something that is like true to our consciousness, and maybe those days are longer but we're still like watching time the same way, you know?
Because time is not real. Time is not real, brother.
Damn, that shit trips me out. That's a deep rabbit hole right there. Fucking figuring out what time is.
Maybe we don't have to figure it out.
Yeah, maybe we can just let that be.
Brother, for the last question, public events or private events?
I think public events. I've done like a lot of private events and stuff, and I've hosted private events before, myself, and it doesn't feel as good as opening it up to everybody, you know, like everybody is welcome. Everybody is allowed to be here if they want to come, compared to like an invite only type of gig where like you're picking and choosing who can come and be a part of the experience. Why not let everybody be a part of the experience that wants to be a part of the experience?
See, that's how I feel with like educational showings. Like I feel like it happens to be where it's like you have a family and you kind of become part of their family when you have a private event because you're including everybody. You walk up to grandma and you're showing her the lizard, and you're coming back to the Theo and you're showing them the snake. So you almost feel like part of the family, whether if it's a wedding event or a private event or an educational showing. But like a public event is great as well because it opens up the resources where you network. You create that web, it becomes larger, and it's not just about the people there. It's about who's coming in. You don't know who's coming in. You're just meeting these new, larger, smaller vibes, and you're just going with the flow. So I see they're both beneficial. That's a very tricky question for me, but I can see where, for in your stance as a DJ, it would be best for public events because you want to share that with everybody.
Yeah, and in the DJ world, like if I'm doing a private event for like let's say a corporation, I've just done a lot of corporate gigs recently. I just did one for the Tucson Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and it was like a mixer that they were hosting. So they had all these like super smart, fancy schmancy people there, you know, chopping it up and rubbing elbows on top of like a good cause. They were raising money for the Sunnyside Foundation, which is a foundation that I really love, that I have, you know, work with a lot of people in the place that I grew up, and even benefited me in my lifetime going into school and being low income, and their help, you know, really resonated with my family and I. But when I'm doing these events, I'm delivering. If they want to vibe, if they want, hey, we want mellow music, nothing too crazy, I'm gonna go in there and deliver, bro, because that's my job. That's what they hired me to do. They didn't hire me to come and be a club DJ and get everybody dancing on and grinding on the dance floor. They hired me to create an atmosphere where people can network and where people can have a good time, on top of like hearing a couple jams in here and there where people can connect. And maybe talk about a couple songs, but still be able to go back to whatever it is that they were discussing, you know? So like when someone hires me and they pay me to do a certain job, I take it very seriously. My input at that point is out the window because I am a business and I'm going to deliver whatever my client wants.
Definitely. Yeah. You certainly do have to tailor your audience when it comes to the entertainment world. And that's with anything, like whether you're displaying, whether you're a DJ, whether you're an artist. And even with an artist, that's why it's so hard to become a successful artist, because you're going to build that resonation with a lot of your audience. But then there's going to be that 50% that not might like you, but you're going to interrogate certain themes or certain music genres to make you succeed. Or you have to create your new Elvis Presley line. You know, it's like you have to become the new thing. But it's very hard. It's very humbling, like you said, to become part of the entertainment world.
Yeah, man. And like just recently, my most recent experience with that was like with the mix I just recently put out. I was trying to think like, first of all, I wanted to put out a mix because I have a problem hoarding music, and I have a problem hoarding like a lot of like the things that I create. And I don't know if it's because it's like a very vulnerable part of me, or like I just want it to be the best it could possibly be. But I definitely wanted to put a mix out so people can listen to some music whenever they wanted, you know. And when I was thinking and planning it out, I was like, oh, should I make a reggaeton mix that everybody can listen to and like? Should I make some sort of like clean mix that they can probably like play at their shops or businesses? And I went down the rabbit hole, bro, and I was trying to find like what would people want to hear? And then like I was talking to my partner about it because I was having a real dilemma, and she helped me get to the conclusion that I should just make something that I like and put out something that I really enjoy and something that I really love and would want to listen to, and not worry about the consumers at that point. And just release something for myself and have it out there. And whoever does decide to listen, whoever does decide, to press play on my mix, they can pick and choose if they like it or not. And then it has nothing to do with me because I know that I love it and I know that I like it. And if they like it, then great. And if they don't, then they don't. And that's okay too,
Yeah. Yeah. It's about making you happy at the end of the day because you're the creator, bro. And like sometimes my paintings, like I'll develop some type of art piece and I'll keep it to myself and I'll just look at it later on throughout the years, but I never share it because that's my passion. But I feel like if I would share more of it, it would transcend me to some way because it's something that I'm hoarding for myself, kind of like you were.
Do you ever feel like you shy away from sharing your art because it is your passion or like a hobby and you don't want to make it into a business?
That's the way I felt about reptiles, bro. That's the way I felt about reptiles. But until I did it, it was like, damn, it still feels okay. As long as I feel like I'm not overstepping or selling too much or doing too much out of the ordinary that I don't think is in line. By that, I mean, if I breed 100 snakes, by all means, I'll sell them. But where it comes to like over hoarding animals or keeping animals that I don't need for my projects, then I've really restricted myself now. But yeah, it does come to play, bro, where I figured that out where if I have a hobby, I'm going to keep it to myself because I want to make it something special for me,
Yeah, and if you're out there listening right now and you are watching us and you're thinking about maybe getting into a new hobby or finding something new to do or something, different in your life, don't be scared. Like, don't think about what other people are going to say. If you want to pick up a camera and shoot some pictures because you like doing photography, don't care about people saying like, oh, now she's trying to be a photographer, huh? Oh, now he's trying to be a rapper, huh? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Do whatever you want. Live 1,000 lives. If you don't like what you're doing, change it. Find something new. Do whatever it takes to make yourself happy and indulge in whatever piques your interest and fucking love it and enjoy your time with yourself and whatever it is that you like to do with your creativity.
Absolutely. That's passion. That is passion right there, bro. And I feel like I felt out of myself like that way too, with art, because I've always been a fond of perspectives. Like even when I'm on trip or I'm doing psychedelics, like I have a pen in my hand because I know something is coming. And then later on I'll look at it and it's a lesson, it's a hiding something within that art piece. And for me to share that is a lot of vulnerability. I've written songs. I've actually uploaded songs. The last one I did was Good Witch back in like 2019. I love R&B, bro. I've always sang. I had classes when I was younger. I did opera or high tone ends, but I had a very profound soprano voice. And then throughout the years, I stopped singing, but I feel like that's something that I might want to get back into,
Would you be willing to come to my studio? And
Bro,
we'll just jam. We'll just jam. Nothing too serious, nothing too crazy. We'll just hang out and we'll see what happens,
Yeah, I'd be willing.
Yeah, man. I I really am trying to share my studio space with others now. A lot of my DJ homies have been going in there, and a lot of like other producers have been going in there with me and my team, and we've had like such good times in there, and we've got so much work done. So yeah, if you're watching this and you're a musician or a podcaster, or if you just never been in a studio before and you want to go to one, you're invited. You're invited to my studio, and if you want to have it for yourself, I'm booking it out Airbnb style now, so you can literally go in and block out some hours for yourself and go in there, and it's a self-serve studio. I have almost everything you can need in there to create.
Definitely, bro. We're gonna have to collab and have some snakes in there.
I love it. I love it.
Make your studio, make some marketing going on there.
Yeah, I'm actually about to announce it on Monday. So on Monday I'll be putting an announcement so people can hopefully start using the space when I'm not in there, and hopefully creating and letting their creative juices flow in there.
Yeah, brother, that's wonderful. That's sick. Well, bro, that was the end of the show. I do want to thank you so much. I'm going to tap in here with you real quick. Just wait for me here on the ends. I'll be right back with you. I do appreciate you, brother. This was a wonderful show. Episode 12.
Thank you very
Oh, I cut you off there, brother. What were you going to say?
I said thank you very much, George. I fucking appreciate you so much, and I love you, bro. Thank you so much.
Oh, much love, brother. We always love you, man. Bear with me here momentarily. Thank you so much. This was episode 12. Amazing episode with Walters the Don. If you did miss the live, make sure to go through the entire rerun. Make sure to like and subscribe. All of our social media will be down below. I will be announcing the special guest as well for the next following week. I'm not sure if we will be booking for next week, but we do have the lovely Ariana Luna from La Bella Boutique. She will be our next special guest. And right after that, I believe we will be with the one and only Chris Carr, the bartender. Thank you so much for joining us. This was the Spirit Animal Podcast. Checking out the real George of the Jungle. Always much love.